Tiger TV comes to you today from Davies Park at West End, home of the South Logan Magpies. They're up against the East Tigers. Of course, Tiger TV following the fortunes of the East Tigers very closely, and today, as we say, we're in enemy territory at the home of the Magpies. It's a very important game for the Tigers. Their recent form, at least their results, have not been what they wanted at all. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games, including consecutive losses to Tweed Heads in round 7 and then to Norths last week, 18-16. A disappointing second half from the Tigers last week against the Devils. And you'd have to say that the Tigers should have won at home last week. On the other hand, South Logan are putting together a very good season with 5 wins and 3 losses. But last week were beaten by Townsville 38-14 in Townsville. Mind you, the Blackhawks have gone on to win again over the weekend and have now won 5 straight. So South Logan form against Townsville has to be measured against a pretty successful season so far from the Blackhawks. Taking a look at the East Tigers lineup immediately, and we've got Scott Drinkwater, back at fullback. So that's a real boost for the Tigers to have one of their best players from the early part of the season back in the side at fullback. Linkport on the right wing. Connor Casey is in the centres with Shapes Blair, Jared McAnally on the other wing. Billy Walters comes back into the team at 5'8". Billy Walters back from injury, and that's a tremendous reinstatement for the Tigers as well. Braden Torpey will be at halfback. In the front row, we've got Matt Grote with hooker Chris Ostwald and Brett Grenke again lining up at prop. In the second row, Jake Foster, the captain, and Patrick Kafusi. At lock forward, overcoming an injury through the week, Jack Svensson. On the bench, it's James Salter, Ash Little, Adam Creer, and Harley Aono. And with me is David Wright. David, that East lineup definitely looks to be reinforced from last week.
Absolutely, Warren, one of their strongest sides we've seen them put on the park, and obviously this happens from time to time. Obviously injuries, everyone has to withstand that, but of course they've got that alliance with the Melbourne Storm, and players do come in and out for that reason. A couple of players not available today, but that's a very strong side. They should be highly competitive against South Logan Magpies, who have, as Warren said, has had a very good season so far, 5 wins and 3 losses, but they got touched up last week. They conceded 7 tries to the Townsville Blackhawks, so they'll want to improve their defence this afternoon. Let's have a look at the side they'll put on the park. Corey Allen is there at fullback, Benaiah Bowie on one wing, and on the other wing, Paul Rokolati, he's a Fijian, and Marion Sevi and Scott Doyle in the centres, both very adept at getting the ball across the try line. 2 good organising kicking halves in Guy Hamilton, and Sam Scarlett is connected with the Broncos, has been for a few years on their list. George Fire's also a Bronco. Travis Waddell, he's been around for a long time. He was with the Bronx last year. Patrick Mago, and then up front, Fata Fahy on one second row, I should say, Daniel Tamo and Phil Dennis. Well, what a career Phil Dennis has had. We'll get to him shortly. Baker, Scott, LeVay and Flegler. So a strong outfit South Logan will put on the park. But Phil Dennis, to his credit, he is only 8 games off being the most capped player in the Intrust and Queensland Cup competitions. Troy Lindsay holds that record at the moment, and he is only now 8 games off. He's had 268 to Troy Lindsay's 270, and the South Magpies look to be very strong in all departments, and I'm sure we're going to have an excellent match here this afternoon.
Well, let's hope so, David. I really think we will, because both teams need to win after suffering that loss last week. And both teams now making their way onto the field. And Gavin Payne is with us this afternoon as well, of course, on Tiger TV. Gavin, we mentioned it looks like a reinforced and stronger lineup for the Tigers, but pretty tough opposition this afternoon in the Magpies.
Yeah, look, it is. We talked last week about the Tigers. We're just going to have a minute's silence here shortly. About the Tigers and a number of changes. They're reasonably stable this week with only 2 changes, but a couple of big ins in Walters and Drinkwater. We'll just pause for a moment, I think, while there's a moment's silence here.
So a moment's silence here, firstly for Terry McEnroth. And our second tribute today to the beloved member of Tiger TV, Mike Higginson, who passed away last week. Well, that minute's silence, a very solemn moment for everyone here at the ground at Davies Park, for East and for South Logan, and of course for Tiger TV. This time last week we were remembering our fallen soldiers overseas, and we said lest we forget. Well, in the world of rugby league, we definitely say lest we forget today, because Terry McEnroth, first of all, wonderful contribution to rugby league through the Queensland Rugby League, as we said last week, and as a Member of Parliament, of course, as well, and a lover of rugby league in the East Club. And then our mate Mike Higginson, who fell ill early in the year and was unable to commentate with me as he has for the last 2 years. I miss having Mike alongside us. His enthusiasm for rugby league, unmatched. His knowledge of the history of the grassroots of Brisbane Rugby League and everything that mattered in rugby league, again, unmatched. And unfortunately, Brisbane Rugby League and Queensland Rugby League in general, is much the poorer for Mike's passing, and we send our best wishes and condolences to his family.
Yeah, great historian of the game, great lover of rugby league, loved his West Club here in Brisbane as well, terrific on Tiger TV, and sadly missed. Terry McEnroth was the #1 ticket holder, as I understand it, for East Leagues as well, so he was involved everywhere across rugby league.
So the kick-off from the boot of Guy Hamilton, and the Tigers in possession from that kick-off, and Brett Greinke bringing it back. So this is going to be a tough outing here at Davies Park. You can bet the Magpies, stung by last week's loss to the Townsville Blackhawks, and they'll come out firing. You'd expect some ferocious defence from the Magpies in their own nest here. And the Tigers, well, plenty to play for, and the troops to do it today. They've definitely, they will have been stung. I'm sure Coach Scott Sippel had plenty to say after last week's loss, where they were very much in the game and just didn't go on with it well enough. So you get a chance again, and here's one of the players with a chance to do it. Billy Walters back in the team at 5'8", and he'll be one of the spearheads of the attack, certainly. Kerry at dummy half, sends it out to Torpy. Braden Torpy kicking for the corner, and it's a pretty handy kick too, very well placed, gathered in there by Corey Allen, one of the young stars in the South Logan team. Just signed with South Sydney for next year, Corey Allen, the South Logan Magpies fullback today. Has been with the Broncos, Corey Allen. And we can't wait to see Phil Dennis get his hands on the football. Gavin Payne must have just about played against Phil Dennis, didn't you, Gavin?
Not quite, but he has been around for a very long time.
Here's South Logan coming out of their own half. Hamilton in there, but he gets out of Travis Waddell, moves into dummy half, and he comes to short side with Hamilton. Nice quick hands as well. Up towards halfway they go. In the centres today, Marion Sevian, Scott Doyle for South Logan. And that was Doyle.
Penalty for taking the kicker out. This will be right in front. Easy 2 points if the Magpies decide to take it.
Now there is a little bit of breeze around today. It was blowing earlier, I thought, from the north, but at the moment it seems to be behind South Logan in the first half. So coming from the south now, that's Guy Hamilton, who's taken a hit.
And yeah, I think it was Greinke who perhaps was involved in that tackle. And here it is. Here's the replay. Out there to Hamilton. Grinky, well...
That's late.
Yeah, but he basically gave him a hug.
Well, Hamilton seems to have taken the hit. I think he's genuine. He's holding his head and cheekbone, but it was so late, David. There was every opportunity to pull out of that tackle.
Yeah, and I guess he wasn't travelling at any great pace either, so you're probably right, Warren. So a good chance now here. They're going to take the tap, which is interesting, the Magpies. They take it straight up the middle, first up there by George Fay, and George gets within the 10-metre line. So good chance. They back themselves here. Travis Waddell in there at dummy half. Looks on the outside. Pass up there to Dennis. Dennis does well to keep it alive. Fires it on the outside to, I think that might be Bowie out there. Yes, it is. Back in the middle now, up to the big fellow there in Mago. He is a big lad, Patrick Mago. Struggles his way forward, can't get into the ground, so a good quick play. The ball will put a bit of extra pressure on. They come back down the right-hand side. Little grubber kick through. And leaving early, and that's Chase Blair.
Getting off the line.
So a couple of penalties to South Logan. They didn't take the first 2 points, which was right in front, Gab. They're not likely to take 2 here, I would think.
No, exactly right, David. They've got the pressure on the Tigers. That's back-to-back sets now, obviously. 3 sets in a row at the completion of this set here, and let's see how they go.
That was the Mago again, getting it to almost the identical position. Let's see what they can do from here. They come out this time to Phil Dennis. He's a good ball player and a good runner. Dennis, well, he shows if he's 34 years of age. He's played over 260-odd games, and from a standing start, straight through the defence. To their credit, South Logan, they backed themselves twice to get points on the board, and really that was defendable, that. Phil Dennis, as good as he is and as experienced as he is, was given a saloon passage there to go straight through the line. What a good player he's been over the years. Not only has he played for South, but he's also played for, as I recall,
West, I think it was very early on.
And for East maybe as well, I think. So he's had a decorated career, Phil Dennis, and he's within 8 games at the moment of topping the list of all-time players in the Intrust come Queensland Cup. Troy Lindsay, that great front rower. Why is it 2 forwards are in the top existing players or the longest serving players? So Troy Lindsay got up there, and now Phil Dennis.
I think that's because I think Phil Dennis started in the backs.
Did he start on the wing? It's inevitable that good players end up in the forwards.
He certainly was in the halves. Here's Guy Hamilton lining it up close to the post. Of course, he was knocked over and given the penalty just a couple back, but the second penalty in a row, and now it's South Logan leading by 6 points to 0. But who would have thought Phil Dennis would be the first try scorer? He missed last week's game, but he has been coming off the bench, even though he is the captain of the club, Gavin.
Yeah, look, he is. That's right, and that's a big out for South Logan. Actually, Brendan Gibb not playing today, out injured with some skin condition, and Phil Dennis comes in there. Look, boys, I think that potentially Phil Dennis does a lot of ball playing for South Logan, so perhaps the Tigers just hung off him, looking for that ball playing, but they won't do it again.
You're right there, because there was a hole that he exploited in the defence. Just didn't assume he would be the runner, no doubt. So early blow here for the Tigers, and it's South Logan at home on top, 6 points to 0. And with that wind strengthening behind them, Waddell at dummy half goes to his right, and George Fay has been heavily involved early in the game for the Magpies.
South Logan want to be keen to make the most of this wind as well. It's fairly significant, so the Tigers will have the advantage in the second half. Want to get as many points up as you can.
Here's Dennis taking them on himself, the try scorer, 34 years of age, and still going very strong. Waddell swings it wide. Hamilton puts it up towards the post with the breeze, and backing off as Drinkwater. Souths have got a chance to get on. Play on, definitely, but I think it's still the last tackle. No? Oh, the Tigers have got it anyway. Oswald diving on it.
Carey, and this time a penalty, so there's a quick run of penalties in this match. Markers not standing square. If there is one area of the game I really do think gets warranted for a clamp down, is the markers not square. They are the ones who can take the biggest advantage. They are the ones who can cut down the territory, even more so than someone back on the 10.
So let's see what the Tigers can do. Torpy finds touch from the penalty, and Carey will take the tap and taking it forward for the Tigers there.
That's Korea.
Is it Adam Korea on the field? Well, we thought he was coming off the Interchange bench. Oh no, well anyway, he's out there. That's what counts. And he's wearing 16, I think. Tigers in possession, 20 metres out. Shoveling across to Kafusi. Kafusi testing the defence of the Magpies here. First time Tigers have really had possession down here. Oswald dummy half. Torpy. Nice ball for Walter. Spins out of the tackle. Can't get away, but the Magpies are off their line too early. You have to wait for the ball to clear the ruck before you move off, particularly, and you've got to have your foot behind the line as well.
A warning already here for Guy Hamilton.
Your job's to be onside whether I call you or not. Get onside and hold. I'll tell you when we're inside 10.
The referee laying down the law.
The referee today is Tim Rutherford.
Grenke for the Tigers, not far from the posts.
1 foot.
Hostile dummy half, waits. He's got 2 men on his left. He goes behind them, through the hands of Torpy, out the back from Foster. Drinkwater, nice work, and Chase Blair goes for the line. Chase Blair is over. Nicely worked play from the Tigers. 2 decoys going through, long ball out the back behind them. Defence was held in close and the space was found out wide.
Good response here by the Tigers off the back of a penalty, even 2 penalties in a row. They got in good position, that quick hands through the back line and then out to Chase Blair. Torpy got it started. He was first receiver, popped through a couple of hands and then up to Chase Blair. He had a passage. Here we go on replay. Long wide pass. This is important. That's a good long pass to open up the defence. Pops it out the back door. Quick hands there by, I think, Drinkwater up to Chase Blair. He was just grabbed at the last moment, but he had enough momentum and strength and determination to get across. So the Tigers have done what they needed to do, and that was get a quick answer to the Magpies' initial 6-point lead.
And that pass we saw from late pass, popping out the back from Foster is handy. That pass there made it. The extra man got it out to his fullback, and Drinkwater reacted very quickly with the hands, got it wide to Blair.
Yeah, good work here from the Tigers to immediately respond. Good quick hands as well. Drinkwater, what a good inclusion back into the side. He's been out for a few weeks. Scott Drinkwater, he's linked with the Melbourne Storm. He's got a lot of the attributes of Billy Slater. We talk about Brody Croft with the attributes of Cooper Cronk, but certainly Drinkwater has. He can run the ball, he can pop the pass as well. And good work to come up with the first 4-pointer.
And of course the first try for South came on the back of 2 penalties, and for the Tigers on the back of 2 penalties in a row as well. Now Braden Torpy lining this up. He'll be kicking across the breeze from an awkward angle. Not the easiest attempted conversion. He hits it well. Has it held its line? It has. A fine conversion from Torpy. It's 6-all, Gavin.
Yeah, it is. Look, that
but of course, you can simply save this number on your phone. 133 222, and a black and white cab will come straight to you. That's 133 222.
Yeah, sorry, boys. A good low tackle there. Foster getting at Scarlett. So I think that'll be a ploy for the Tigers all afternoon. Scarlett, a low defence there, enabled that pass to be got away.
Grenke brings it back from the restart of play. So both teams have fired off a shot. The cannons are blazing from the decks, but we've still got a long way to go in this game, and it's back where we started. 0-all, now it's 6-all. And indications are it's going to be a tough afternoon for both teams. Penalty here, 3rd penalty in a row goes to the Tigers.
Plenty of controversy in the game at the moment around the benefits or otherwise of these consistent penalties. The suggestion was players would learn fairly quickly. Well, it's taken them longer than what was expected. I think the players will always push the boundaries. Good kick, that one.
I think they'll always push the boundaries, David. The idea is that the boundaries have been moved. Well, they've got to push a little bit further down the line. But here go the Tigers.
It still means a lot of stoppages, Warren, and I just don't think that's what we want for our product.
So that was Creer. He is wearing 16. Tigers in centre field now.
Three, move! Hold! Hold!
And the whistle's gone. We've got a problem here. Jake Foster down and feeling the effects. So Matt Grote hasn't started the game. We originally expected Matt Grote to start the game. Jack Svensson is out there. So Svensson in the number 13 jersey, and Adam Creer, I believe, is wearing 16 for the Tigers.
He's in a spot of bother here, Foster. Getting attention. What seems to be his problem? Reaching down for that right knee. He's the skipper as well, Foster. He's one of the few players that have played pretty much all the games this year.
Well, we've got a short break here, Gavin. What are you seeing from both teams as far as the way they're going to approach the game or the differences between the two teams?
Look, I haven't really seen enough of South Logan just yet to form an opinion there. I think these Tigers, as we called in that first play, will be trying to get at the halves. Adam Creer has got the ball on 2 occasions, I think, out this right side and run straight at Guy Hamilton. And Jake Foster likewise. I didn't see who got him there, but in that try early on, he was straight at Sam Scarlett. So obviously that's a ploy of all teams these days, and I certainly think it's a ploy of the Tigers this afternoon to try and get at those smaller halves one-on-one to get those offloads happening.
Well, Sam Scarlett was the first man into that tackle up top, but then he was joined by a couple of others.
Phil Dennis, the skipper,
that happens,
getting a
got to get him off in the first
ruling
place.
from the referee.
He's okay, and it's play on. Jake Foster to play it after that break of a couple of minutes. 6-all to score. Torpy quickly out wide. Walters finds a hole and gets the pass through it. Nice work by Walters there to find the player, and it was Creer out on the right-hand side. Adam Creer plays it to Austral, keeps it going the same way. Walters is wrapped around. He's there with Carey. Doesn't get the ball though. It's a 5th tackle. They're 20 metres out. And Billy Walters has dropped it. Pass was a fraction low, but he should have caught it. The wind might have just got onto it, but down it went, and Magpies in possession.
Well, exactly right. Should have caught it. Wasn't the best of passes, but it's so important to keep the pressure on. This should mean South Logan, the Magpies, will get their way out of their own territory, providing they can retain a bit of possession themselves. They've got a big, strong wind at their back as Sevi gets up to play it. Charging up the middle there, I think that was Fay.
Waddell goes back to the right.
Yep, little chip over the top there by Scarlett. This will put a bit of pressure on Drinkwater, picks it up on the bounce. He's a very devastating broken field runner is Scott Drinkwater. Now the Tigers to do the hard work, get it out of their own territory. Carey tries to get away from the marker, but yes, he does. Does well to initially break that first tackle. Good quick play, the ball is what's needed now. There's Linkport. No penalty so far, so the flow stays with the Tigers. Svensson, workaholic is Jack Svensson. This time Walters does well to find a bit of space there, didn't put it in the lap of any of the players, and taken there by Bowie on that right wing position. Good chase it was too by the Tigers to get down there quickly. That might be Allen running out of dummy half, but again, good, strong Tigers defence. They need that intensity today, the Tigers. They have tackled well overall in the season, but they don't really put a lot of power necessarily in their defence, and that's been a lot better today. A lot more power, strength and drive. The Magpies to work down this left-hand side. Good tackle by Carey to come over the top. This time Doyle it was. Last tackle play. This time to Hamilton. Again finds a bit of space. Drinkwater picks it up, and he'll work his way back out of his own 20-metre zone.
Yeah, you'd expect Guy Hamilton to be one of the more influential players on the field. Of course, he formerly played with the Tigers, also with the Sunshine Coast over the last couple of seasons. This year with South Logan, always a very handy player in your halves. He's got a good kicking game, and he can run. But now another penalty of the Tigers, and the Magpies fans don't like it. Phil Dennis arguing with the referee. He's going to call him back here.
I've been happy with what was said there.
I'm not going to cop Ben Spaggins like that, so be very careful. He comes back into the ruck, which knocks the ball out straight forward.
Phil Dennis, the skipper, has said something that the referee didn't appreciate. He's on a warning for that.
So you were saying that the South's tackler came back into the ruck, so had a bit of a second dig in there by the sound of the call there. Bit short of a flop, but a second movement after the tackle was completed. Here's Carey, almost straight through. Connor Carey caught them by surprise. Just got him in time. Moving it to Walters. Grinke. Straight running, Brett Grinke plays it back. Stepping his way through is Svensson, trying to work up the middle again. Setting up the attack, Creers deep on the right. Walters is on the right as well. Ostwald, which way is he going to go? He does come to the right. To Walters. Walters spins it out the back, and joining in was Drinkwater. Chance on the right for Port. Port steps back away from the touchline though. Plenty of cover defence coming across for the Magpies. Now, again, Walters is out there, and this is Kafusi. Got it away late, but it's loose. Torpy goes back, and they've lost 20 metres. Good chase there by Scarlett. Excellent work from Scarlett. A clumsy pass from the Tigers let them down.
Yeah, Torpy raced back, but just as he was trying to pick it up, the tackle came through. Thought it might have been knocked back, but the referee thought otherwise. This is the pass up this time. That was the one that went out to Link Port. So this was the preceding play. They then went on the attack and spread the ball nicely, but ultimately couldn't finish off. Walters involved there. Up to Kafusi. He was the one who got it away on the deck. Torpy tries to pick it up, just tackled as he does so, and ruled as a knock-on.
Yeah, look, Kafusi just needs some short support there, doesn't he? He had to throw that pass back about 5 metres to try and find his nearest support player. They need to get off his shoulder. He's going to create some opportunities. I
think they underestimated him. Now here's Allen going across field, turns it inside to Benaya Bowie, a 24-year-old. And I tell you what, this fella is making plenty of ground early on. Simi Fatafahi has been very strong, the big number 11. George Fay has also been involved. This is Marion Sevi, the right centre. He's been taking a number of hit-ups all right. He's like an extra forward at the moment. They're in the middle of the field, and Dennis spins it out wide. It comes even wider now, and here's a chance on the left. Burrowing his way towards the line, it's Paul Roccolati, very close. Good run from Roccolati. Doyle passes to Scarlett. Now it's George Fay, and they set it up through the middle again. He turns, can't unload. Good defence by the Tigers. Slows it up. It's a fifth tackle coming left again. Hamilton grubbers it through awkwardly. South Logan have got it back, and they might have scored here. What's the referee think? South fans like it. They're cheering in their corner and down at the bar, and it's definitely a try. Another try to South Logan. They lead 10 points to 6. Kick to come.
Well, the Canberra would be very happy with that. I know there's a South Old Boys Day on today, so that's right in front of them. A little bit of a ricochet here.
Hamilton off the boot.
Yeah, he puts it in. Then it looked like the Tigers were going to be first to it. Racing through quickly then came Tamo, and then at the last minute picked up by Doyle. Spins around, puts it over. So a little ricochet helped immensely there, and the South Logan come up with a try off a little grubber kick. And Gav, you're never sure what the outcome will be.
No, look, you put that doubt into the mind, don't you? He just tries to play at the football. He just can't see which player that is. But and then there was an attempt to pick it up by Drinkwater. He couldn't get there, and it just rebounded back to Doyle for the try. And you know, I don't know about you boys, but I'm not sure whether what the guys in the line really putting the foot out to try and stop those things. I rather, the fullbacks, that's his job, and the wingers, that's their role. I think that you're better off just let it go through, let them deal with it, and if it becomes a try, then so be it.
Yeah, it looked like Drinkwater was the only one close to it, and maybe it was just was there another boot in there from the other South player? Might have just knocked it away from Drinkwater.
I think there was a second rebound.
I don't know whether that was Link Port getting across in cover.
But Gav, you're right. With these little grubber kicks, unless it's coming straight at you, I think you've got every right to block then and hopefully get on it yourself. Here's the loose ball picked up by Doyle.
So Hamilton has converted. Hamilton converting, so South strike for the second time. It's 12 points to 6. Tell us, Gavin, Guy Hamilton, did you encounter him while he was with the Tigers? I mean, he's been through 3 clubs. He's got the full array of kicks. He looks like a pretty handy footballer. Why does he keep changing clubs?
Look, I think when he was at East, he left East, stayed for another season, then followed the coach Trigger up to the Sunshine
Craig
Coast.
Ingebrigtsen.
Yeah, Craig Ingebrigtsen, that's correct. And I'm not exactly sure why he left Craig to come here. Maybe different opportunities as well, I expect, with the South Logan side. And
I think originally he was down in the Canterbury Bankstown under-20s in Sydney. So one to watch for the Magpies today. He's already made his mark on the game. Magpies lead 12 points to 6. Breeze is definitely getting up and starting to blow towards us across a bit more diagonally rather than behind South Logan. So this is the sideline to kick to.
It's a bit of a southeaster it is early, and certainly to the advantage of the Magpies at the moment.
Waddell up the middle. Corey Allen at dummy half, goes right. There's Dennis. Late pass. Couldn't quite wrap him up. Was that Scarlett there? It was Scarlett. Now Hamilton on the right with the kick. He's always there on the last tackle. It's close to the sideline. Drinkwater pulls it back away from the corner post. He's got possession.
Great kick by Hamilton right into the pocket. Forced pressure onto Drinkwater, and then
McAnally in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, McAnally couldn't make much territory. So there's 3 tackles inside the 10 from a very good pocket play kick, putting it in that little corner. Good work by the Tigers to get a run out of dummy half. Was that Walters? Yes, it was. That was good play after 3 rucks. And misses a kick downfield by Torpy. Torpy fires it down. Comes across Allen. Oh, good tackle. Great tackle there by Connor Carey. Good tackle that was by the Queensland under-18, under-20. So he's a good player, Carey. He can put some aggression into his tackles. Big fella there in George Fay, charges up the middle. They've got plenty of size to South Logan side. These Tigers will have to move up to contain the big men. Run out of dummy half up this time through the hands of Scarlett, and up there to Fafat Fahy. They work down the right-hand side again. Good little play too, up there to Scarlett. Scarlett goes himself, just caught a couple of metres out from the try line. Up this time, slowly out there to Hamilton. Last tackle play, cross-field kick. Bit of pressure on here on the first hand saw. Was it knockback?
Play on with Link Port for the Tigers.
He's gonna
came off Roccolati from South.
South for offside. Knock on South. Get a double knock on. So it's a double knock on. It can't be a penalty.
Can't be a penalty, that's right.
Off South first.
Okay. He had me worried there. He had a first up a South Logan knock on, and then the touch judge was instructing penalty goes to South. That can't be the case. Double knock on, first man. First team to knock on must pay the initial penalty.
See what happened here as a bomb went up from Hamilton in the direction of Roccolati, who jumped in the air, tried to knock it back, but in here there's a knock-on rule. There it is, onto Port. There. And then Billy Walters was offside, but the initial knock-on negated that. So it's the Tigers in possession. Port had to come back. But the Tigers spending a lot of time in their own half at the moment. I think this touchline is begging for a kick with the wind, even slightly against it, but it'll push it to the sideline. They need to get out of here. Kafusi standing to the left, wants the ball, or is going to go to Braden Torpy. It is Torpy. And he gets it onto Grenke. He loses his footing as he comes to Waddell. Travis Waddell, much travel, very experienced player at both the NRL and Q Cup level. This kick is deep. Allen goes all the way back. In goal, will it go all the way? Touching goal, it does. 7 tackles from the tap back at the 20.
It's a game of millimetres. That kick was actually into the wind, so they've been unfortunate there, the Tigers, for it to continue to roll on like that. And another good chance now for South Logan to work their way out of their own territory. As Warren says, the wind is slightly cross-field, but largely at the back of the South Logan Magpies. Sevi gets it up to midfield. Scarlett turns the ball back on the inside up to the halfway line. Waddell working the dummy half roll. Big fella there in Lavea, I think it is. Travis Waddell again, worked down a blind side up to Scarlett. Scarlett fires on the outside there to Sevi. Sevi breaks the first tackle. Searching forward, 3 men on him now. He's lost the ball backwards, picked up by the Tigers. So it's a determined defence there by the Tigers on that left edge defence. Force the error. And they'll breathe a sigh of relief. So twice the Magpies have had a chance to put pressure on down this end and have failed to do so.
Yeah, Chase Blair bring it out first of all, and that's McAnally now. The Tigers still finding this South defence, but look at the footwork of Billy Walters there. That's one way to break up a defence. Footwork, and Walters off the left foot and the right foot, and he draws the penalty as well. Well, that's really a bad mistake by South to give away that penalty. They've been keeping the Tigers down this end of the field. Patrick Mago there holding on too long in the tackle.
Yeah, look, just trying to keep a few stats here for the coverage. 5 penalties to 2 to the East Tigers at the moment. Both sides were reasonably happy with their attacking sets or their ball control. Last 2 errors have come from South Logan, so they're 7 from 9, and the Tigers 2 errors as well. They're 9 from 11.
An attacking opportunity here for the Tigers. Carey takes the tap. It goes to Svensson. And he's taken by Patrick Mago, one of the young Bronco contracted Magpies, but he's forced the error from Svensson here. There was a twisting, turning tackle from Mago, and I tell you what, he's built like the proverbial, and he's just got the better of Svensson before the referee called held by the look of it.
Yeah, costly error that, very early in the tackle. Yeah, very early in the tackle count. First tackle, good chance for the Tigers. One of the few they've had recently. Let's have a look. Well and truly wrapped up, driven to the ground, and just pops out.
Yeah, there were 3 of them in the tackle, but I think it was Mago who was doing most of the upper body work. Speaking of statisticians, Gavin Payne's our Tiger TV statistician today. Brad Talon from the Queensland Rugby League has also supplied us with plenty of stats, and a couple of the points of interest. East have won 5 of their last 6 games here at Davies Park as the Magpies win the scrum, and Scarlett goes out the back to Allen, and he breaks away from a tackle of Blair, and back to Scarlett it comes. South Logan, though, have won 4 of their last 5 home games, and East, as the penalty goes to, well, hang on, there's a bit of a skirmish here. Matt Grote's just come on the field, and he's not far away from it. But I don't think he was the instigator.
Scarlett was the man who was left on the ground, so I'd say the South Logan boys have resented something that's happened there to their halfback.
The referee steps in. He's going to
consult.
Take him away.
Guy, not helpful right now, mate. Not helpful, mate. Away you go. Phil, take these blokes away. Calm down. Boys, just keep moving first, guys. Over that line, we'll be good.
My best guess is the referee's got no idea what happened. No. He's going to ask the touch judge. Did you see anything?
Exactly right, Warren. Once you say all moves by time.
Let's listen.
It was the 9 that ran straight in. The dummy half? Yeah. Okay, we'll talk to him.
The other half was 4. Yeah. Has come from a distance.
So Grote's over the top.
Okay. We might get him on the run.
Crusher, maybe they've been concerned about.
Waddell pushes Grote away, and that's what began.
Yeah, and he reaches for the back of his neck too, does Scarlett, Sam Scarlett.
So Waddell felt Grote was had the crusher on Scarlett, but this is where it just gets untidy. Everyone comes rushing in.
That's why we blew the whistle. That's why you
and until it was handbags at 5 paces, and until referees send the bloke who comes running in off into the sin bin, it'll keep happening. Most of the time, what annoys me is in the old days, for example, if there was a shoulder charge, it was perfectly legal. Nobody blinked. Now, if it's something like a shoulder charge, everyone comes running as if you've just committed murder. It used to be okay. Now it's a murder offence. You know, I mean, the overreaction from players, this one in all in mentality, the coaches encourage, it's got to be stamped out.
The fact, Warren, is that there's no punching anymore, so everyone's safe to run in and just do a little bit of argy-bargy.
Great spoken to you.
I'm agreeing with you, mate, but I'm telling you, we can't have that another one of those.
When there was punching, Warren, I don't know about you, but I used to be out the back. No, I don't ever want to go running in.
I ducked and ran. But we were wingers and fullbacks, Gavin.
Correct. For a reason, Warren.
I remember I played in the Queensland New South Wales game once. There was 25 players in this blue, and Jeff Richardson was sitting out the back on a football. We're just watching the other 25.
The only trouble here is I believe David Wright never threw a punch either, and he was a front rower.
I got to the sin bin once.
What was that for arguing?
For leading with his chin on the right cross.
Wrong one. Someone's taking a whack as you can feel and hear that wind.
There's the replay in that bottom right box there.
What I was... some sort of injury.
Complaining about something that might have any stumbles to the ground. No penalty. We're going to have a play on after all that.
Well, just penalise him, ref. If you think he's too far back, which he is, he's about 2.5 metres back, just penalise him. You can't stop the game for half a minute telling players where they're supposed to stand. In fact, I think the rule should be you've got to have a hand on the marker. If you're the second marker, put your hand on the marker.
I actually even think 2 hands on, Warren, to square them up.
Yeah.
They often stand with one and then stand to the side.
But anyway, the Magpies are on the attack here and looking dangerous. Good field position. Sam Levea playing it. Scarlett, Hamilton, Sevi it is. Sevi goes close, Sevi's over. Sevi cuts inside, and even though I think it was Chase Blair trying to make the tackle, he couldn't pull him down short of the line. And Sevi scores in that right-hand corner. Marion Sevi, the 22-year-old former Keebra Park student, went to the West Tigers, then went to Ipswich, now with South Logan, and I'm pretty sure he's one of the Broncos contracted players, but he's scored a vital try, which takes the score out to 16-6 with the conversion attempt to come.
Good effort by Sevi, because he didn't have a lot on when given the ball by Hamilton, and he just took on his opposite number in Chase Blair, and then went all the way. So there wasn't a lot happening there. It wasn't if an overlap had been clearly created. Pretty basic backline movement too. Straight up there through the hands, up to Scarlett, out the back, one dummy runner, and then out to Hamilton, and he just puts him on the outside of Chase Blair. Link Port then was surprised by the fact he had to make the tackle on the inside. He had his own winger to worry about initially. So the Tigers, Mack and Elliott was on that far side. And Gav, not a lot of deception, and a good effort by Sevi to finish.
Look, it was a good effort because the pass wasn't necessarily out in front of him. They had to sort of get it up around his left shoulder, but just had too much wheels, too much pace there to get on the outside of Chase Blair. With the sliding that they do these days, the holding of the line and not really coming forward, and perhaps even sometimes backpedaling, you might have seen in that replay that, you know, they just haven't come far enough off the line to negate that play. Here's the goal from Hamilton, and he's successful to take the South Logan side out to an 18-6 lead. Yeah,
an 18-6, very handy lead. It was a bit surprising, wasn't it, how Sevi had the speed to get so easily on the outside of Blair, but I think that was the old Kevy Walters out ball working to perfection, and McAnally was backing off. Blair was sort of backpedaling, so he was off balance and couldn't accelerate to make the tackle either.
The thing that's impressed me, Dave, the thing that's impressed me with South Logan is they're coming at them on those plays with a lot of pace, coming at them with speed and causing, you know, a little bit of doubt in the East Tigers defence.
Well, and they're using Dennis as one of the first men. He's often first receiver, and then they've got Hamilton and they've got Scarlett both working off him. So in that occasion, they had the three of them together.
And one dummy runner that just held a little bit of defence on the inside. But I think Gav's point is a very valid one. You must move up with these defensive lines. You give any good sides a little bit of room to move, and they're going to make you pay.
Well, this is a real problem for the Tigers. They're down by 12 points, and we've still got 10 minutes to go in this first half. And an offload, and away goes Bowie. Benaya Bowie. Good run too. Makes a lot of ground down the middle. They're hungry now, the Magpies. Tigers have got to get the defence there, and they can't. Here's Allen up the middle. Hamilton's got it. Gets the last pass away. Great tackle. Try-saving tackle from Link Port. Knocks over Daniel Tamo. Looked like he was going to score. Back to the right. Hamilton kicks right across field. Coming through on that side, McAnally manages to get in front of Sevi and saves the day for the Tigers. They can't afford to give away another try here.
Well, the two wingers by the Tigers saved the day. First, Link Port with a great tackle there on Tamo, and then the crossfield kick. McAnally had to stand his ground after the attack and hit the left. It's tempting for the wingers. Here's their good play straight up the middle. That was Allen who came off the pass from Hamilton. Hamilton backs up again. Up that time, I think it was Tamau. And then a good tackle there by Linkport. So he's right winger, and then the left winger in McAnally called to hold his spot out there. Very important to do so. He does well. And now again the Magpies back on the attack. Good chance to go on the attack here
from the dropout.
And perhaps put more points on the board. Waddell it was, turned the pass back on the inside to Flegler.
A giant of a man, this young 18-year-old Thomas Flegler.
Waddell goes himself. Travis Liddell. Well, asleep there at marker. You can't afford to give an easy passage. And Travis Liddell, another one of the experienced players for South Logan, gets a fairly soft try from close to the try line. A little bit of a dummy. The marker and the nearest defender really weren't on their haunches, ready to make the tackle.
Well, Flegler's so huge. I mean, it took 3 of them to stop him, and 2 of them trying to push him back. But as you say, W, it's going to be well. The one tackler fell over there and made it easy for Waddell, and
didn't get him to ground, Warren. That allowed him to quick play the ball after 3 players on Flegler. He was then just waltzed across field. Let's have another look at it again. 3 players get to him, but Flegler can't be knocked to the ground. Pass back on the inside. Now, if you get him to the ground at this point in time, you buy a bit of time to reset your defence. He's there taken by 4th player in at one stage. They push him around.
Yeah, watch Creer though. Creer falls over trying to get into position.
You've got to put him on the deck. You buy a couple of seconds, you're a chance to defend.
Well, how would you put him on the deck? You need a chainsaw. Look at the size of the fella. Thomas Flegler, this young Bronco, again, affiliated player playing with South Logan. Hamilton's converted from right in front and stretches the lead to 24-6.
Yeah, and of course that all came off the back of that inside ball and the great work by South Logan with Allen making the break and getting it out to the edge. Only superb defence, as you've called, lads, from Linkport prevented the try at that stage. But only a short time later, a couple of tackles into the next set, and they're over again.
Yeah, we just saw a glimpse of Thomas Flegler, and everyone's been talking about Payne Haas for the Broncos, and there's some of the Broncos say keep an eye on Thomas Flegler. As I said, he's only 18, very powerful, born in Tully, have had a shoulder injury, missed most of last year, but ready to go in 2018. We also saw Corey Allen in action, as I said. He's been with the Broncos the last couple of years in the 20s and now joining South Logan, but already signed with South Sydney for next year. So we saw Allen make a break, and then we saw Flegler instrumental in the lead-up for Waddell. Here's the Magpies. It's all the Magpies at the moment. The Tigers have got to get their hands on the football, and they've got to stiffen their defence.
Yeah, they just keep it alive there. Comes back on the inside. I think that's Hamilton up there again to Flegler. Flegler just takes them on again. Charges hard to bring down. Gets up into the Tigers territory again. Travis Liddell up there to Scarlett. Scarlett will chip over the top. This will keep a bit of pressure on. If it sits in the end goal area, it's going to be a lot of trouble for Drinkwater. He does well to get back. Gets just into the field of play. And Drinkwater, but they're on the back foot. 5 minutes up to half time. Tigers need a couple of good dummy half runs to get out of their own territory.
Yeah, very smart kick there from the Magpies, forcing him back. McAnally tries to bring it out of his own end, but it's heavy weather against an enthusiastic South Logan defence at the moment. There's Linkport. I think he's come from the far wing. Offload is handy. Dangerous but handy. And Carey's over there as well, so they're coming from everywhere to try and staunch the bleeding.
Well, that's what the Tigers needed. Only less than 5 minutes up to half time now. A penalty to get them out of their own territory, a chance to have some attack. They haven't done much recently, Gav.
Look, that's their first possession since they did that knock on. I think it was
first tackle,
the lock forward there in Savence. And South Logan since that time have had 5 sets, 2 converted tries and blown the game open.
Essential now for the Tigers to see if they can go on the attack and perhaps get points late in this first half to get a bit of credibility back on the scoreboard. Adam Creer gets it up inside the 40 metres. Face pass up there to Svensson. Set midfield, opportunities either side. Walters right, Torpy left. They'll go left to Torpy. Torpy lets one go out to Drinkwater. Drinkwater pops a pass out there to McAnally. Flashes down, pass back on the inside. It's gone forward. I think it's gone forward. Yes, it has. Well,
gee, Kafusi was trying to get his hands to the pass as McAnally from here. I thought McAnally was going to go all the way himself, and then realised that he was going to be put over the sideline. Or, well, that has to be the decision, because from here I thought he was going to score, but couldn't get the pass, the late decision to pass to Kafusi ball sailed away from him.
Yeah, went forward. The pass, here it is again. Nice little play constructed down that side. Pass up there to McAnally. He does try that pass when he was under threat of going into touch. Couldn't be handled. You've got to finish those off. Chance gone begging.
Well, good quick hands from the Tigers. We saw them execute well early in the game for the Blair try, but that's the only points that the Tigers have scored in the first half. And down by 24-6, they dearly would have liked to have finished that off.
Significantly, Warren, both of those really good plays have come down that left side, so a bit of the right side defence for South Logan needs to be looked at. Perhaps they'll address that at half time. It just had on occasions, first time with Foster getting the unload away in the tackle, and then just good quick hands on a sweep play with Drinkwater. So South Logan got a little bit of adjusting to do out there, and the Tigers will probably keep heading that way.
Remembering the Tigers are going to have the wind in the second half, which should be an advantage with a couple of good kickers in the side.
Yeah, they'll need to use it as well, but you've got to retain possession to use the kicks. If you're giving possession away all the time, you don't get the opportunity to really put in a strong kicking game. Penalty here going to South Logan for a second effort, as the man tried to get up to play the ball, just a flick of the legs. And again, this is danger time for the Tigers. I think 24-6 is still winnable.
I'm just about ready to pick up the pen, David, and sign your petition against penalties. the interruption to momentum is frustrating.
It is. And this is a great opportunity now for South Logan to really shut the door, I think, if they can get another try. Flegler again, very hard to put to the ground. Finally they do. It's essential, those big men. You've got to put them on the ground. Makes it hard to get up every time and do work that hard. Tamar comes down this left-hand side. Travis Waddell up there to Hamilton. Hamilton turns it back on the inside. Bumping run by Fay, I think that might have been. Untidy play the ball. Untidy play the ball.
I think that's Sam Levea, actually.
Yeah.
Another one of the young but very much up-and-coming players in this South Logan team, Sam Levea. 21 years old, Queensland under 16, 18 and under 20. A representative for Queensland.
Yeah, connected with the Bronx as well, so a strong affiliation between the Broncos and South Logan. The Broncos also tied up with Redcliffe Gav, aren't they? Winner Manly as well.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
Which as well, I think.
Yeah. So
North.
Melbourne Storm, of course, with East Tigers
And
the Sunshine Coast Falcons.
So the Tigers have got the ball, but they've spent most of this half in their own half. Drinkwater plays it back. Kerry has a run, and he's drawn the penalty. So no let up on the 10 metres for a moment, as long as it's fair to both teams. Well, neither can complain, at least. Neither team can complain, the spectators might. Billy Walters playing on quickly here with not too long till half-time, only a minute and a half to go. And the Tigers caught in centre field. Adam Creer to play it. That'll be Grenke. He has worked hard, or in fact, is it Kafusi? It should be Grenke in that position. And it is Grenke. He's still out there. He hasn't had a break. Walters, as we've seen a number of times, beats the first tackle, but just needs support to get a quick pass away after beating that tackle. Now through the middle goes Ostwald. Tigers desperate for a try just before half-time here. Grote at dummy half. Swings it to the left. Torpy turns it inside. Chase Blair tries to find the channel. Heading for the post. Magpies holding on. Not many tackles left up their sleeve. Oswald goes from dummy half and it's all over. That set is complete. No result for the Tigers here at Davies Park today. Well, only the one earlier on, but it's 24-6 and only seconds remaining.
Chris Oswald, I would say that was ambitious, if anything, that run from dummy half. This is the lead up to it. Good pass back on the inside. Chase Blair goes very close. Got a good play, quick play the ball. But to run out of dummy half here with stacked defence around there, you've got to go low and hard. He was up just that little bit too high. Always a target then to be held up. Opportunity missed.
Yes, indeed. Just seconds to go, as you said, Warren, and a very impressive first half from South Logan. They've really dominated the possession, made fewer errors, and also got the points on the board.
And how will they finish off? Will they be conservative, or will they have one last flashy fling here? And Dennis spins out of a tackle. He's had a good first half, Phil Dennis. plays it back. Well, that wasn't Phil Dennis, in fact, but they put it over the sideline, and so they're going to take a break. And, well, it was all the Magpies. They've scored 4 converted tries to 1, 24-6. The Tigers going close in the last couple of seconds, weren't able to get it over the line, but nevertheless they will have the wind in the second half, so they're not out of this game yet.
No, they're not out of it by any means, Warren, but South Logan Magpies have been dominant in all departments. They've looked bigger, stronger. The defence by the Tigers hasn't, to my recollection, at any stage dominated. You've got to get in there and dominate with your defence. That hasn't happened with these Tigers today. In actual fact, I think if you look at the whole season, they do get in there and make tackles, but they don't get in there and really dominate. They haven't got a fast-moving defensive line. And if you're going to do that against a big side like South Logan, you're going to be rolling back all the time. And then they've got some good halves in Scarlett and Hamilton who've been able to move the ball around. Allen's chimed in nicely as well. So they've been dominant, South Logan Magpies. They deserve their lead. The chance the East Tigers have is the wind in the second half. It's not the panacea of all, but it is a potential benefit. It could get them down the other end, and they play their best footy when they're near the try line.
But Gavin, they got the penalties in the first half, the Tigers, but their handling was what really let them down.
Yeah, look, it's not too bad at all. I mean, last week in that second half against Norths, I think they were less than 50%. They're certainly up around the probably 70, 60, 70% mark in this 4 handling errors in that first half. They've received 7 penalties, so they've had enough of the football. It's just the errors that they've made, and I agree with David. I just think that defence, you're continually backpedaling. Those big South forwards just get that roll on, and then they're coming at them with their halves, and Phil Dennis just playing that extra link man, as you call Warren as well. Just getting there 3 passes wide and then getting it to their edges with that defence just hesitating for the moment, just standing, waiting to see what's going to happen. And before you know it, a little bit of pace, just get them on the out ball and on the outside of their opposite defender, puts the winger in 2 minds, and I think they're just doing things faster and better than the East Tigers at the moment.
So on the black and white cab scoreboard, it's 24-6 in favour of the Magpies over the Tigers here at Davies Park. Tiger TV coming to you from Davies Park today. We'll be back in a moment for the Mind Lab halftime report.
It's off the ball!
But of course, you can simply save this number on your phone, 133 222, and a black and white cab will come straight to you. That's 133 222.
Maruka Suzuki provides you with exceptional service, and we try to make the buying experience as smooth as possible. Located on Ipswich Road in Maruka.
The all-new Baleno. See your local dealer or search Suzuki Queensland.
You should see our restaurant.
You should see our service. And you should see
us at the all-new Easts.
You should see Easts now.
Proud sponsor, Rig Construction Specialists.
Welcome back to Davies Park. Gavin Payne, Warren Boland and David Wright with you, and Mel Tabay as well. And Mel's got some important news from the dressing room, particularly referring to the East skipper.
Yes, unfortunately, Jack Foster will probably be out for the rest of the game. He did, as we noticed before, when he went down, and there was a few minutes of stoppage there in the play. Had a collision there with his right knee, with the other player's knee. I'm not too sure who it was. But he's got it all iced up, and unfortunately probably won't play the rest of the game now.
Not coming back, so the Tigers down to 16 for the remainder of the game.
Correct, yeah.
All right, Mel. All right, thanks for that. And you'll go and check about any other news from both dressing rooms.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Mel Tabay, with the news on Jake Foster. And that's a blow because Foster's his experience, his leadership, and one man down.
Well, he's a skipper too, Warren, so you're right, the leadership. He's very strong on that left side. He's been one of the most, in terms of selection, Gavin, I think he's been one of the few players that have played most of the games this year. There's been a lot of interaction with players, so he is a big loss, especially when you want the side to really be resilient in the second half.
Look, he's been a rock that they've really got their side around for over the last couple of seasons. Been in terrific form over that period. He's missed a couple of games this year, and they've missed him in that time. But he's a very solid player on that edge. Obviously, created their first try, or was involved in their first try, and only try at this stage. And so, yes, he will be missed out on that left edge.
So it's 24-6, 4 tries to 1 in the first half, and we'll take a look at the triple play replay for Mine Lab in just a moment. We've got those tries, but early on to a try apiece to have us at 6-all, but it wasn't long before the Magpies got right on. Here's the Tigers attacking early, and this is the Tigers when they scored their first try, hitting back to level at 6-all after Dennis had already scored for the Magpies.
Yeah, some good work on the inside there, threw Foster out to drink water, and then Blair had a fairly a saloon passage. The only opportunity the Tigers really have had to open up the South Logan defence, that made it 6 points all, as you say, Warren. Dennis scored the first try in the 4th minute, when after 2 penalties he went on a solo try, but the Tigers then were able to respond. The only response they've been able to achieve thus far. That got it to 6-all after 9 minutes, and then after that South Logan scored 6 tries straight, and Gav, as you say, there was a glut of possession to South Logan. They were good enough to go on with the job.
Yes, they were, and this is that one. We just can't see what happened in that little play there before the ball gets to Scott Doyle for that try. But it was a good little grubber through from Hamilton. Didn't get through the line. A little bit of pinball of the ball, looked like between legs and hands and so forth. Just comes off.
You can see Tamo chases through. I think he might have actually knocked the arm of Drinkwater.
That's what it looked like, Warren. I agree, and it just bumped that ball. I think Drinkwater probably got a hand of that, just knocked it forward into the path of Doyle, and Doyle scores that try, which of course was their second try to take them out with the conversion to a 12 points to 6 lead.
Yeah, you can see Billy Walters and Jack Svensson come over slapping Drinkwater on the back to console him, because I don't think really was much he could do about that.
No, he was very despondent. You could see here's a little grubber kick through, and Drinkwater doesn't complain at all about the decision. He just hangs his head knowing that he'd lost that ball under pressure, and they came up with their what was their second try.
So that was in the 18th minute, and that took the Magpies to a lead of 12 points to 6. And this is the skirmish where we think it was, the Magpies thought there was a crusher tackle by Grote on Sam Scarlett. And of course, when a team sees a prop forward on top of a halfback, they usually come to his assistance. But really, it was a bit of an overreaction. I think Waddell came in and gave a shove, didn't he?
And oftentimes these...
Waddell, the number 9, the marker. There he gets, shoves Grote away.
And Grinky was over the top as well. So it's often a combined force. I don't think Grote had any intent to put pressure on, and then Grinky came over just to wrap up. So combined with that, you had a guy in an awkward position, a bit of downward pressure, and then the reaction unfolded. Nothing came of it, as we often see these days. But then what did come of it was some sustained attack. Pass back on the inside up there to Allen, off Hamilton, handles twice in that movement up to Taumau. And he just comes up short. Great tackle that by Linkport. Right winger tackles there. Crossfield kick over here to McAnally. He does well to make sure he covered that. A lot of times these days you see after a break's been made one side, they kick to that other side. The attack wing has got no one to contend with. Good work from McAnally to save the day.
Yeah, it was. Look, and from that, there was an ensuing set. Here's that break again that they have, and then from that drop out, it went on to to another South Logan try.
So there's the kickoff for the second half. We're watching the highlights, and the players are back out there, and it's rebounded here and gathered in to at least prevent the Tigers getting possession back immediately, but they will have the scrum feed. So mistake from South. That's exactly the way you don't want to start the second half.
Exactly the way South Logan didn't want to start, but this is an absolute perfect start here for these Tigers. If they're a chance to get back into this match, they need to respond quickly.
So just repeating that in the first half there were tries to South Logan to Phil Dennis and Scott Doyle. We saw those. Marion Sevi and Travis Waddell also scored. All of those tries were converted by Guy Hamilton. Solitary try to Chase Blair for the Tigers, converted by Braden Torpey. 24-6 as we get the second half underway here, and a chance for the Tigers to strike back and strike back hard. And
Chase Blair
cutting back in. He was first receiver off the scrum, the left centre for the Tigers. Let's see what they've got. If they've got some fire in the belly, have Scott Sipple got them going? Here's Matt Grote with a bumping run, and he makes a few more metres to put him on the back foot. Torpey's on the left. Walters will be on the right. It's Svensson it is. Svensson trying to shake off a tackle. Austral dummy half. Goes out on the right. There's Walters this time, and good defence by Hamilton. He got underneath Kafusi. They loop it back to the left. Torpey turns Grenke back in towards the posts. Penalty against the Magpies. 2 points is no good at the moment.
Signal for a highish tackle there. I'm not sure. I don't think that was inside the 10. So good chance now for the Tigers. They didn't really ask too many questions then as big Grote goes close to the try line, still trying to force his way forward. Oswald to dummy half. They use that right hand side up there to Walters. Walters fires on the outside to Carey. Carey goes close, but again the defence not really threatened by the play. Long pass out the back to Walters. Walters up to Ostwald. Ostwald to Grote. Back to Ostwald. Just manages to hang on to it. Again, the defence comfortably handling those plays. They'll go down the right-hand side again, up to Walters. Little grubber kick. Can't get through the line. Play on it is. Was it played out? Does that restart the tackle count?
That's touched now, if it is play on.
And knocked on. Well, they'll get another chance, the Tigers, but really they aren't... I don't see them threatening the defence greatly at all.
No, not at all. David, when you expect the East Tigers renowned over the many years they've been in existence for their attacking play, I don't know, the combinations are there. It's a similar side that they had out last week. I know that the Melbourne players come in. Drinkwater's new in this week and been out for a few weeks, as has Billy Walters. So just not putting enough pressure. Perhaps need to take a leaf out of South Logan's book and just go at them directly with a bit of pace, just to put them in two minds.
Well, they've got everything going their way here, the Tigers. They got the kick-off back from the scrum. Now they've got 6 more tackles from this scrum, and Drinkwater's out wide. Drinkwater tries to pass. It came back to him. He's very lucky, trying to get it to McAnally, but he got it back. So everything going the Tigers' way. They've really got to capitalise here with a try if they're going to haul the Magpies in. Blair's not far out from the line. McAnally dummy half. Tigers attacking here. Close, not far out. It goes to Torpey. Long ball out. Walters tries to step back in, but a nice tackle from Tamau. Austral dummy half. He goes to the right. Torpey to Kafusi. Kafusi moving through the line, but pulled down just short. Carey dummy half. Swings it to the left. They've got some width here. Walters runs it. Tries to step through the line. Dennis over the top. And a good tackle by Tamau underneath. Back they go, short ball, and it's been put down by the Tigers. So nothing comes of it again. They've been handed possession, repeat sets, and they haven't been able to turn it into points.
Last tackle play, they went for a big crash play down that right-hand side, even though Walters was the man who was playing the ball. Normally directs play on the right-hand side. Crash ball, under pressure, couldn't be taken, so South Logan off the hook.
Gee, they're really hammering. They come into the centre, go on the right, come in the centre, going back to the right. They're really pumping that right side. They must see something there that I don't see, and they're handling it quite easily, the South Logan Magpies.
Good run out of dummy half to get them out of the danger zone. Come down this right-hand side up there to, I think that was Scarlett.
This has got the breeze pushing it towards the sideline, but McAnally handles it and brings it back. 3 men over the top. So Now the Tigers have possession, their own side of halfway. Sometimes you get more freedom in a way to attack from near halfway.
Scott Drinkwater back from injury today, first game back, but this is the quietest I've seen him. He's been scintillating every time I've seen him previously. There just doesn't seem to be anything created for him. He's seldom coming into the line. It just doesn't seem to be the Scott Drinkwater of old. Whether it's not happening in front for him, Gav, or whether he's not looking for it, I'm not sure. It's not working.
I just don't think they're creating that foundation for him just yet.
It's the fifth tackle as Port plays it back. Walters on the right. Walters to the line, kicking for the posts. Will it go too far? It's got the wind behind it. Hits the upright and taken by Benaya Bowie. And he ducks underneath the tackle. The Magpies have it. Wasn't quite the end result for that set that the Tigers needed. It was either going to go dead, or, I thought, or pull up deep in the end goal, which would have been perfect.
Essential to really come up with some punishing defence here. Don't give an easy passage for the Magpies to get out of their own territory.
So it's Grenke in defence, muscling up. He's got Iono out there as well. Harley Iono on the field for the Tigers. Grote's on there, so they've got some of their big men out there, but Hamilton kicks for the sideline and quite happy to take it over. Oh, no, it's going to stay in. And Drinkwater gathers it in. He'll head towards centre field. Now he accelerates. He does the kick start and leaves Hamilton behind. He's still stretching out now. Links up with Connor Carey down the right-hand side. So it's worked out well in the end. Found a bit of space.
Yeah, you got to go on with it.
Port is there. Goes off himself. When you've got them the defence out of shape, you want to do more than just take a hit up, I reckon.
Especially a run out of dummy half by a winger being caught by a marker from broken play. Not on.
Svensson plays it back. And Grote hits and spins. That's good play. Out the back, but dropped by Torpy. Was it knocked on? Off South knocked on. So it'll be more Tigers ball. An avalanche of football to the Tigers here. They have to turn it into points.
Matt Grote's showing what he can do and stand in tackles and offload, but the ball didn't go neatly to Tigers' hand. They'll get another chance.
Still 24-6 in favour of South Logan Magpies. Taking their time to pack this scrum, both teams.
Couple of knockdowns are creating some extra opportunities here for the Tigers. And, three, I think, handling it or knockdowns by the South Logan Magpies. The third of which has just occurred there. I just don't think there's enough punch for the Tigers up the middle at the moment. They just got to get that the way the game is played these days. Got to get that dominance in the forward, in the middle of that ruck, so the Drinkwaters and the Billy Walters can do their stuff. Just not happening.
Well, Drinkwater showed he had enough dash then in his crossfield run, so you reckon he's right at his fitness level. He's just got to get involved in the game, and as you say, Gab, need a bit of a platform up front. Chance to keep it alive. Up there to Oswald. Oswald takes them straight on up the middle. See what they can do from here, the Tigers. They've had plenty of chances down here and haven't been able to capitalise. Torpy looks for his support, fires it up there to Svensson. Svensson pops it out the back door, up to Grote. Can Grote go all the way? No. Caught with a couple of metres short. Ostwald, Torpy to the line, Torpy, and scored it, I think. He's got a cross. So Braden Torpy ultimately takes him on. Quite a big for a halfback, and he was good enough there, Torpy, after some good work in the middle of the ruck with Grote going close after an off ball by Ostwald. He offloaded nicely, and then Torpy goes on with the job. Let's have a look at it on the triple play replay.
Braden Torpy does it in pretty simple fashion, and then he just went to them hard. The Magpies didn't really get off the line, and he goes all the way in the tackle. He was taken down, but he was already to the line before they got to him. And really, that's a result of the build-up, as you said, David. The build-up was good. Oswald, very good, very quick as he made the dash. Grote went close as well, taking some of the energy out of the South defence. And in the end, you can see Tamar running back, Dennis running back, and then they had to come forward again, and they just weren't able to get to Torpy quick enough. And I will say, last week we were talking about the halves on the field when they played Norths, and talking about who was really shaping things and had a future. I think we probably overlooked Braden Torpy because he played as well as anyone last week. Particularly comparing him to say Brodie Croft last week. But yeah, Braden Torpy, a very good all-round footballer. Yeah,
look, he's a big lad as well. He's got a good frame on him. He's got a good goal kicking. He's got a good kicking game as well, which all halves need. He's a goal kicker as well, and his general running play. I think he underestimates himself or undersells himself at times in that he is a big lad and he can take the line on. I think he needs to do more of that. as he misses this conversion attempt to leave the score at South 24 and the Tigers 10. But you know that play there came from 2 second phase balls. You know, Oswald got it the first time and made a dart up the middle. They came left, got another offload away to Grote. He punched up the middle again. I got a theory about the game, boys. I know we all do. I think that the second phase play, it needs to come back into the game more than what it is at the moment. It just gets that defence has come forward. They perhaps think that the tackle's made. They start to retreat. You get that unload away, and you get another tackle at them effectively, haven't you?
You're dead right, Gavin. I mean, the defence now is so technical. I reckon back in my day, we didn't do much tackling defence as such, or defensive patterns. Now they do it all the time, so it's so intense, and it needs to be broken up, you're right, by that sort of second phase play. Well, I'll be most interested here now. The Tigers have pretty much dominated possession for the last 7 or 8 minutes. Have they really got the Magpies for the first time a little bit weary? They dominated the match, the Magpies, but could this be an opportunity now to continue to build and maybe find some chinks in what's been a very strong defence?
So here's Kafusi with it for the Tigers, and with the benefit of a penalty, they're going to go downfield. So 24-10 in favour of the Magpies. That missed conversion by Torpy might come back to bite them.
Gav, you got possession second half. How
Yeah,
are we
I
looking
do.
there
So,
in 10 minutes?
So 8 possessions to the Tigers. Obviously, some of those were knockdowns on tackles 1 and 2, but 8 possessions. This will be number 9 coming up off this penalty. South Logan have had 2. The knock on from the kickoff, and then a down time that didn't go into touch, and that's when Drinkwater ran right across field there to help to set up that get these Tigers back on a roll here. Just got a HIA coming here at the moment. Looks like Fedefehi. Perhaps. Oh no, it's Sevi.
Sevi it is. So now the Tigers with a good chance to go on the attack. They have dominated possession in the early minutes of the second half, and we're 10 minutes in. Walters pops it up firstly. Just a settler initially for the Tigers to go on the attack now. Salter at dummy half up there to Walters. Long pass, Torpy. Torpy fires out to Chase Blair. Chase Blair decides to go straight ahead, does well too. Rolls the defence back, that's what you need to do. Drinkwater lurking up at dummy half, he's wasted there. Pass up this time to the big fellow in Aoni.
Clear together!
Charges forward. Slowish play the ball. Salter dummy half, up there to Torpy. Torpy on the outside. Can't get it away though. Was that Blair again? I think it was. McAnally in support, couldn't get it away though. Pass up this time to Torpy, little in-goal kick. Couldn't get it through the line. Straight at, I think it was Guy Hamilton. Well, there were some gaps there. Sometimes it's a really condensed defensive line. It's hard to thread it through, Gab, but there were gaps there right enough to put it through.
Yeah, no, that one needed to go through, you know, just to keep that roll going, just to really hedge South Logan down in that 10-metre line, if not in their in goal, and get another set. But South, let's see how they come out now.
So Hamilton gets it away. And this young but hard-working pack for South Logan. Got to get it out of their own territory. They've been under pressure in this half. Ute Baker had a run.
We're calling the game this afternoon from right on the sideline, so we're closer than normal. A little knock-on, I think, here. And the Tigers will get another chance. So we're closer to the action from where we're calling than we ever are. The size of these guys, Warren. You see some of these fellas coming in from the bench. Baker, the number 13, is another big lad.
He's a big unit. Mel, we've got another injury to the Tigers.
Yeah, we do. Our number 16, Adam Kriya, has also gone off. He's done a knee injury. So day full of knee injuries today.
So he's not coming back?
Not coming back, no.
So they're 2 down now. Foster's gone and Adam Kriya's
Correct.
gone. Okay, thanks Mel. Mel Tabe with the injury news. Adam Kriya with ice on the knee. Jake Foster out as well.
And Sevi was off for South Logan, so a bit of attrition happening here. The Tigers have had the majority of the ball. Can they go on with the job?
Walters to Drinkwater. Drinkwater goes wide and away goes Link-Port down the sideline. He's beaten one. He got away from Doyle. Doyle just ankle tapped him. Good work by Port to continue, but desperation from Doyle. So on the back foot, the Magpies right now, with Grote trying to make them pay. Gets the offload out the back beautifully. Nice work. And they're following him through too. They know that he can offload. Playing it back there was Salter, who's come on the field. Crossfield they go. Kafusi has the ball stolen. Penalty.
2 in the tackle, I think. Doing the tackle.
That's the call from the referee.
There's a near thing. Walters ran out of dummy half and popped the ball back to Kafusi.
Well, here we go. The referee's going to read the riot act.
More talk back, is it?
Had a number of penalties, 3 straight in this second half. Yeah. A mixture of things.
With those 2 injuries to the Tigers, looks like Brett Grenke's come out to the left edge here playing second row, and I think Kafusi probably moved out the right edge with a couple of the other big forwards in Grote and Iona playing the middle third.
A warning here for 3 penalties in a row, albeit they were totally different. Referee deciding he's had to read the right act. Grote goes close to the try line. Big strong lad, can't get across. Becomes even more difficult to take one off from this close to the field. Torpy standing deep, pops the pass out there to Drinkwater. Standing, dashes, goes. Drinkwater, Scotty Drinkwater on the ground, back up again. That's what he's capable of. Scott Drinkwater, out of nothing, took the ball from Torpy and just stopped and had a look at them, and then the flashy feet of Scott Drinkwater just zigged and zagged a couple of times, got knocked over once, still good enough to get up, kept his balance and went on with the job. Let's have a look at it again on the triple play replay.
What an electric run it was. Patrick Mago was one left in his wake. Just a scintillating run from Scott Drinkwater at fullback. There's the run from Grote. They had him on the back foot here, but it was a slowish play, the ball. Out it comes from Torpy to Drinkwater. He had to do it all himself. Steps on the inside there of Scarlett, then got away from Mago, then beats the last tackle from Allen. He's beaten 3 in a row with some absolutely brilliant, red-hot feet there from Scott Drinkwater.
No, that's just a special try, isn't it? You know, there's not too many players can do that. What he's done there there was absolutely nothing on here. He's got the ball stone cold and said, "Here, mate, do your best." And the best he did. Look, there's just nothing here, no depth, no one for him to pass to, no one really to run off, and just a couple of twinkle toes. Good down to a knee, up again. Absolutely brilliant try, Scott Drinkwater.
Individual brilliance there by Scott Drinkwater, but I must say, where has he been? You can do that out of nothing. You can do that out of nothing at any time, and Scott Drinkwater's got to keep getting involved. Score 24-16. We've got a game on our hands now. There's only, 8 points in it.
Yeah, Torpy converted that time, so 2 from 3 for Braden Torpy. 24-16, very much game on, and the Magpies will be feeling that they're cursed running from the northern end of the ground. Everything's gone against them in the second half. They've barely had their hands on the football. They've touched it half a dozen times, but they actually have probably only had about 6 tackles in possession.
Correct.
Go one.
So here go the Tigers with Grote, who's definitely made a difference since he came on in the first half, and he's offloads again. That's about the 4th offload from Matt Grote. He's unstoppable at the moment. Drinkwater goes to dummy half, keeps it going to the right. It's with Walters, and can't step
up
past
together.
Mago. He's an imposing figure. He was the second man in. It was George Fay underneath.
3.
Good tackle too, but he may have taken a knock there. Here goes Grote again, second hit up in the set. Turns, ready to pass. This time they lock him up.
Been powerful, Grote.
Good work by Fatafay. He stopped him that time. Out it comes to Walters, to Carey. He's got Port again. We saw Port run down the right a little while ago in the lead up to a try. Now he gets it back to Drinkwater. Drinkwater trying a bit of magic. Had the hands out in front, trying to confuse the defenders, but they've got him this time. It's the 5th tackle. Carey dummy half. Magpies on the back foot. It's Walters going back to the short side to Port. Port running for the line. Port goes, throws the pass inside. Billy Walters has gone over. The crowd are screaming for a forward pass. I don't know why Port didn't go himself, but he passed inside to Walters. It doesn't matter because Billy Walters has scored back-to-back tries for the Tigers from Drinkwater and from Billy Walters. And with a kick to come, this scoreline is down to a gap of only 4 points.
2 tries in 2 minutes, and we've actually had 3 in about 17 minutes by the Tigers, all by the Tigers. Finally throwing the ball around a bit. Great break down that far side. Port was involved in that, so was Drinkwater. Didn't throw a silly pass, Drinkwater. Go on with the job. And again, they go down the middle. Grote it was who took the ball up strongly. And then Walters plunged it. This is the preceding play. Up there to Carey, back there to Port. Port does well to keep it alive as well. Drinkwater got trapped, looks for opportunities but can't find any, takes the tackle. And then they do a charging ruck. Walters punches down that blind side, up there to Port, back to Walters. Walters handles twice. They punch that right-hand side a lot of times, Gab, and they finally got a dividend.
Look, they have.
Torpy has converted from the sideline, or from out wide.
Yeah, beautiful, and so that takes the score out to South 24 to East 22. But the really telling stat, as you've already said, lads, East Suburbs have had 12 sets in this second half. South Logan 3.
What's the penalty count in that time, Gav? Because that's where it can really dominate. If you've got penalties back-to-back as well, you just retain possession.
South Logan haven't received a penalty because they haven't had the football. East have received 3 in this second half.
So you can dominate 15 minutes with a glut of penalties and ball control, and this side can play footy.
Well, out of the 19 minutes that have passed in this second half, I think South literally will have had the football in their hands for maybe 2 or 3 at best.
Okay.
Now, here's a problem out here for the Magpies as well. Guy Hamilton's been receiving attention in the back play, and now he's hobbling back to his position. He's okay to continue, but he's a bit ginger. So he was their main playmaker in the first half. He hasn't been sighted in the second because South have barely had any attack ball, and they've been tackling on their own 20 most of the time.
And that takes a lot of gas out of the tank, Warren. Second half is when it really you feel the pressure. Let's see if the South Magpies, well, they're desperate to get the football. They forget what it looks like. The Tigers, similarly, they want to keep retaining possession. They've got the wind with them too, so if they don't make a mistake here, they'll at least put a boomer downfield. With the Magpies under pressure again, so a very important set of 6. Oh, that could have been close to a penalty there. Very slow in getting up. Up there, I think that's Kafusi. Goes down that right-hand side. Surging up the field, the Tigers now running like men possessed. I think that's Ione. And he does well to get up over the halfway line. Always has a good impact, Ione, when he comes on off the bench. Up there to Torpy, back on the inside to Matt Grove, takes them on again. Gets up over the 40-metre line. Last tackle play, must put it in the pocket, keep the pressure on. Walters runs it up there to Drinkwater. Drinkwater fires it back on the inside to Carey. They run it on the last tackle.
Now, I've got no problem with that, David. They're red hot at the moment, the Tigers. They've been going down the right-hand side and scoring tries. I think it's fair enough to continue that.
Well, this will depend, Warren. You may be right, but if the South Logan get back up the other end with a minimum of fuss.
Yeah, well, they've handed it over. They've handed it over about 25 metres out. If you put it in the pocket, you're probably going to tackle them 15 out. So
you can get about 3 tackles on the trot. Then once you put it in behind them, you can hammer them for 3, and they don't get out 10 metres.
Yeah, I think it's 50-50 from a tactical point of view. But here's George Fay. He's made a strong bullocking run there. Now the Souths have finally got their hands on the football, and this is what they need, some control with a kick on the end. They've got to regain control of this game. 24-22 in favour of the Magpies.
This time up there to Scarlett, little chip over the top, so they go for a little bit of a pocket play. They're going to try and force the pass up there to Drinkwater. Good trick pass it was to Drinkwater. How quick is he? Breaks about 4 tackles, hasn't made a lot of territory yet.
Oh, high tackle. Patrick Mago, I think. Not as bad as it first looked because Drinkwater's up on his feet, but gee, it looked savage as it happened. But yeah, he's got spiders on him. Drinkwater, they just cannot get a hand on him.
Very evasive ball runner, as they say. He's a lot like Billy Slater. Now he's not Billy Slater, and Billy Slater has capitalised over many. I saw Billy Slater as a kid when he was playing for North and Cooper.
Here's this high tackle in the bottom box.
So look, he's dancing around, and yes, my arm wasn't swinging as such as it's wrapping. Another chance for the Tigers. They can hit the front here with this glut of possession they've had and the pencil they've got to go on the attack. Swenson does well to get it out the back door. Salter fires it up there to Ash Little. He's a Queensland under 16 player previously as well, so they've got plenty of ability here. Salter up there to Great. Running out of a little bit of steam is Matt Great, but still strong enough. Can he stand in the tackle? Yes, so far he can. Just brought to ground. And lost it. And lost it.
Well, disappointing for the Tigers to lose the ball because the momentum is with them to such an extent, but at least it's the right end of the footy field if you're going to hand over possession. Blow for the Magpies. Guy Hamilton has left the field.
Yeah, it looks like he's just got a bit of a knee injury here. It was heavily taped as he come off, but he wasn't very happy, as players aren't when they have to come off with injuries, and that's a blow to the Magpies.
I understand how Matt Great actually just lost that. He was totally wrapped up in the tackle. Here it is now on replay. Arms hanging off him. He's still struggling forward.
Hey boys, forming up.
And it's only that action on the ground where it comes loose. Referee had that angle on him. You can see him walking from the side that we couldn't see, so you'd have to assume he's seen a straight-out lost ball. George Fay being called out. So this is the...
Well, Grote certainly has. Fay, George Fay hasn't been around that long. George Fay, he's only 21 years old.
Couple of front rows.
One game for the Broncos last year.
Couple of fronties just expressing pleasantries to each other, I think.
You don't call that a scrum anyway. It's just a cuddle these days. It's just a restart of play.
Well, South Logan have the ball and they need possession. There's the clock in the background. 24-22. Black and white Cabs scoreboard.
Hard to believe one. It was 24-6 at half time. Unbelievable. 16 points by the Tigers in this second half, unanswered.
A rib tickling 17 minutes remaining in the match. Here's Scott. Yeah, he's one of the replacements out there now. Jordan Scott for the Magpies. Fay. Out the back it comes. Oh, he's lost it. Oh, it's been dropped by Yuri Baker.
We got 17 minutes still to go in this game too.
Yuri Baker, I think it was, lost the ball in a similar position on the field about 10 minutes ago. It's 2 handling errors. South Logan, you have to say, have really just throwing this one away compared, as you say, 24-6 at half time. They've made a hell of a lot of errors in this second half, given away too many penalties to boot.
And that's when possession is absolute gold. When you haven't had it for a while and you finally get it back, you've got to make the most of it. And that's just handing it back to the Tigers, who
and a little bit of bad luck. We mentioned a couple of times it's come off their hands and they gave away 6 more from a knock on.
Tigers would have to be on a high now that the things have clicked.
Well, they have, and it's just come with the weight of possession. Purely and simply that. You know, South Logan just can't take a trick when they've got the ball. However, less they have had of it in the second half.
Well, what we also
dominating possession.
What we also know is that you see games where this happens. There's an avalanche of possession, an avalanche of points, but you've got to keep possession. You've got to keep them, because the moment the Tigers make a mistake, it can all dissolve, and they're still behind by 2 points on the scoreboard. Here's Ostwald with a good run. In fact, that's Ash Little, I should say. Ash Little with the ball. Out it comes to Torpy. Gives it away to Drinkwater. Cutting back infield is Blair. Salter dummy half. Plenty of men outside. Torpy goes up the middle with Grote, who really has made an impact. Just his aggression and enthusiasm is one part of it, and his size. 5th tackle. Now Torpy puts it up towards Port Swing. McAnally, no, it's Carey goes for it. Carey, I should say, brings it down, but it'll be a handover, and the Magpies survive.
And that is in the pocket. So a good attacking kick by Torpy, taken well by Carey, and he is, he's Tiger-ish kind of Carey when he gets it, and trying to force his way over. This will be interesting, Gav. Can they crash and bash here?
Well, rushing defence needs to be the name of the game here for the Tigers. There's tackle 1 right in the corner.
What the Tigers have to make sure they don't do is give away a penalty. They've got them where they want them. They've got them caged. You have to keep them there.
And the referee will be semi-aware of the penalties that have gone to the Tigers in this second half. Slow up to play it. No penalty came from that, though. Good dominant defence. That's what you've got to do. You've got to dominate in defence, and the referees will give you a little bit of leeway.
Good work from Little. He's fresh, and he got off his line quickly.
They go up to play it. They work it still out deep in their own territory, the Tigers. It's probably about the 4th tackle, I would suggest. Down this blind side. Up there. McAnally, that's a good tackle. Close to the touchline, couldn't put him in a touch.
Sevi.
Sevi back on there after going, I think, earlier to the dressing rooms at least for a checkup. Pass this time under pressure. Phil Dennis just manages to Travis Waddell it was, I should say. And the Tigers with possession in good area of the ground. Can they now go back on the attack? They've been the dominant side. Is Matt Grote still out there?
Heavy tackle, good tackle.
Just come off, Grote.
Matt Grote was running out of a little bit of steam, but he has been very effective. Very slow here. What's happened with the Tigers? Up there to Billy Walters. Almost through, gets up. Knocked it on. Just ankle tapped as he went through the line. Walters saying, what's this? Where did I knock that on? He's incredulous with regard to that decision.
Matt Grote has left the field. He's, as I said, been working tirelessly and a lot of skill in his offloads as well. So but he finally has run out of gas, needs a break. They may have the interchanges up their sleeve to use him again.
Yeah,
Billy Walters here steps through the tackle and then started to go again.
He must have thought that the Magpie touched it as he was still trying to regain the ball. That's what the referees ruled.
Big decision though. These are momentum swingers. Points of decision like that. 24-22 in favour of the Magpies over the Tigers. Remembering that last week the Tigers went down by 2 points to North. Right now they're trailing by 2, and we've got 12 minutes to go.
Big fella Baker takes it straight up the middle. Scott working the dummy half roll, puts it out the back, up here to Scarlett, out then to Allen, puts on the outside to Bowie, Bowie down the corner!
Into touch.
Forward pass.
And forward pass. So forward pass and into touch. Here's comes Guy Hamilton. He's been receiving treatment. He's back on. So they've used up, he was only off the field for 5 minutes, and they've used up an interchange working on him.
They punched this blind side very nicely. Scarlett puts the pass up there to Allen. Allen, good face ball out there to Bowie, and good cover defence. McAnally is a good all-round player.
But he knew it was all on the line there.
Yeah, Canterbury Bankstown, Warren, I think he played for at one stage. He's been around for a while. Gav, was he originally in East? Did he come back to East, am I right in saying?
He did come back to East, but he was out the Ipswich Jets originally.
Okay, well that was a very good team. He's had a couple of really key moments, and these days, whenever the wingers get involved in these attack or defence plays, it's normally a big moment, and they've done pretty well. Connor Carey again, trying to break that defensive line. It's back-to-back sets of 6 now that can make a huge difference at this stage of the game. If you're just sharing possession, you can live by that, but you don't want to concede back-to-back sets of 6. That's when somebody can get the upper hand. Pass up this time, Torpy. Torpy out there to Grinky. Good defence there by the little fellow in Sam Scarlett. Helped out also by a good tackle by Butterfay. This time dancing up the middle is that Svensson. Gets to midfield. Last tackle play. Again, I'd be pocket playing it. Let's see what Walters does. High kick. Bit of pressure on. Who wants this? Nobody. Good chance now for the Tigers. Good chance. Knock back play on it is.
Souths have got it.
Yeah, they lurk back there well, South Logan. There's a lot of sides now will let that bounce, and then the attack side tries to knock it back to their own players. What you have to do as a defence side is be ready for that tap back, and that's exactly what South Logan were.
Billy Walters' kick did not go far forward. It was only about 10 metres forward, very high. So everyone stood off it. The Magpies have ended up with it.
Hasn't been a lot of play close to the try lines just recently, so both sides just trying to get their way up the other end of the park.
And it's with Lavia running off Waddell. And now here's Hamilton. He looks okay again, stepping, running, gets it back. Lavia one more time, has got it. Jordan Scott feeding him, getting into dummy half again is Jordan Scott. And on the 5th tackle, they're on the 30. Trying to get this game back under control here. Out on the right-hand side, Allen throws it out the back. Sevi keeps it alive, but they're going backwards. Now Waddell picks it up. They've got to get a kick away here, surely. Hamilton's the right man to have the ball in his hands. Puts the kick downfield, but it's taken there by Port. Oh, good chase comes through. Misses the tackle, though. Oh, that would have been a good tackle if it had been made by Doyle. The chase was good. But nevertheless, they've got the Tigers down that end of the field. Here's Carey now.
That time, good work by the right winger in Link Port to make sure he was back there for that dangerous kick. Little chip over the top on that last tackle. It was a second phase play.
But you can feel the desperation in both teams right now. 8 minutes to go. Only 2 points in it. Magpies leading 24-22. Tigers taking it up towards halfway. Salter in a dummy half. And Walters, who's been trying to find a crack in the defence all day. Slowly to his feet, though, and the playmaker out of the action on the 5th. It's Torpy. Torpy boots it long and high. This is going all the way. It bounces over the dead ball line. So we've seen 2 poor bombs in a row by the Tigers. One from Walters, now Torpy.
Yeah, it was particularly poor that. There was no intent initially from there. The pass to Torpy was almost a second thought, and then Torpy under a bit of pressure tries to crossfield kick, goes dead. 7 tackle set. What a great chance for the Magpies. They can take it length of the field. They haven't put a lot of pressure on down the other end in this second half because they really haven't had the consistency of possession. A couple of charging runs is what they're going to try and chase, and why wouldn't you out of there? This time up to Sevi. He's worked hard. As Marion Sevi from right centre, up over the halfway line. Because of the 7 tackle set, it's really put on the attack. Flagler straight up the middle, looks for support, finds support there in Bowie. Bowie brushes away from Brickwater. Defence just back there. Walters was one of them to bring him down. They've got the Tigers defence in disarray. Can they go on with the job? Hamilton, first receiver, comes across the ruck, goes himself. Defence has to move up both sides of the ruck. Up this time to Travis Waddell. Good chance on the end. Knocked down by Connor Carey. Play on. 6 to go.
Allen's
6 to
got
go. More pressure comes. You got to rush up in defence here. Flagler, the big man, straight up the middle. You won't stop him. You won't stop him. What a charging, bullocking, powerful run there by Thomas Flagler. Straight up the middle. Restart of the tackle count. Put the Tigers defence under pressure. If you're not moving up, you'll never stop a runaway train like this fellow. And great effort there by Thomas Flagler. We've said that I think he's a Broncos colt. Is he tied with the Broncos? Look at this.
This is a stunning run. And look at the run from Bowie to back it up.
Run.
Brilliant work by Bowie to back up the big front rower who made the break initially. But then Flagler has a second go. Look, he's standing out here, number 17. Look at the size of him. Hamilton's marshalling his troops. He's got Scarlett there as well, but he changes direction. You thought at that point maybe they'd lost a little bit of
this is the
momentum.
restart of the tackle count, isn't
Allen has the ball knocked down, and they got 6 more at that point. Keep an eye on number 17, though. He's going to loom up and score the try. Here he goes. He just takes them on himself. The Tigers' defence just didn't get set. One tackle, not effective enough initially, and it was Ash Little, I think, got pushed off, and Flagler went all the way. What a try for the big fella.
Yeah, look, and obviously to understate, not understate it, but they really needed that, the South Logan Magpies. Flagler set that up. The goal from Hamilton, I think it was.
Yeah, Hamilton converts.
Is successful, and that gets South out to a 30-point to 22 lead with 6 minutes to go. But Flagler created that, didn't he? And he finished it. He made the break up the middle to get the ball away to the winger there in Bowie. And from there, he just backed up again 2 tackles later with the defence in a little bit of disarray. But don't underestimate the work he had to do to get to the try line.
I tell you, the other guy I'd give a rap to, the very first hit up of the set, Paul Roccolati, the left winger, came in and took it, and he really hit him hard and fast, and it just gave the kickstart to that set, took him all the way. This has got to go 10 metres. It has. It's knocked on by Billy Walters.
And of course, boys, that came from that poor kick at the end of that set from East, didn't it? You know, the nothing kick, which in the end was a nothing kick. Put a bomb up, just throw it up in the air, which is what they tend to do on the last tackles. Went dead, 7 tackle set, knocked down, try.
7 tackles go is massive, isn't it? You can go the length of the field and still be in a really good position on your last play. They got the restart. They did right. It let the Magpies back into the match.
You know, that restart there from the Tigers, they really should have got that back. Billy Walters was the first one, got his hand to it. Really only one other Magpie there, and 2 of the Tigers were in the vicinity. I really thought they should have made a better effort at getting that back because the kick turned out to be a good one. So Magpies have it. Now they lead by 8 points, and we've got 5.5 minutes to go. So they are. Now here's a problem for Doyle, though. He's taken a heavy knock in the tackle, and every interruption just takes a bit more momentum out of the game. Now a 3rd injury problem for the Tigers. James Salter is getting ice on his elbow, so that looks like he won't be back, and that's the 3rd Tiger out of the game, so they've only got 1 left on the bench.
Just interesting here as well, Warren, that South Logan have used up their 8 interchanges. There's still, 5 and a bit minutes to go. Only becomes an issue, obviously, if Doyle can't get up here and needs to be replaced because he can't continue. It gives a 1-man advantage for 5 minutes to the Tigers, which maybe that they may need.
Would that be an indication, Gav, that they gassed a lot of players in that period when they didn't have ball for probably the first 25, nearly 30 minutes of this second half? Maybe the coach, John Buchanan, was forced to make those earlier changes.
Yeah, look, I think so, Warren. Coupled with, and Doyle doesn't look too good here, he is going to come off. Coupled with that, as Warren said, 2 interchanges for Hamilton with that knee injury as well, which you wouldn't have counted on. So technically they probably should have 2 interchanges still left here, as we see Scott Doyle limping off.
So down to 12. Down to 12 men. Well, the Tigers have got to get the ball. You can't win without the ball, and it doesn't matter if you're playing 12 men if you haven't got the ball. So that's the key now, and the same for South Logan. They need to dominate possession in the dying minutes.
That shows one of the items of discussion still is whether the interchanges should be reduced from 8 to 6. Well, here we've got an example where you really need more than 8. But anyway, it's Magpies leading here, 30 to 22. The game's just gone quiet after such tension here over the last 20 minutes. Doyle is in real distress. He's so disappointed. I think he fears it's a serious injury. He's in tears. He's standing on the sideline as he's taken from the field. That's not pain, that's distress.
Being consoled by one of the trainers too, so he's not well.
We'll be hoping his teammates can at least get the win for him today. So it's the Magpies in possession, 5 metres inside the Tigers' half, leading 30 points to 22. We've now got 4 minutes remaining in the match. Waddell takes the tackle. Come to the right. Scott to Scarlett, kicking into the corner. McAnally being chased by Bowie. Bowie reaching out, but that was a forlorn attempt to score a try. That was always too far in front of him. Now, what's the decision, though?
Touch, I think he's called it.
Leave your lock out here.
So
leave your lock out.
He must have. He's called
it's going to be a scrum. So he's decided it didn't cross in the in-goal area, which would have been a 7-tackle set, so that's a massive call. Kick here by Scarlett, looking for his winger in Bowie, and this goes very close. Maybe because the post was bent toward the in-goal. If it had been vertical, it may well have hit that corner post.
But in the end, it must have gone down as a knock-on by Bowie, has it? Because we've got a 10-metre scrum. You think it actually went into touch,
yeah.
Gavin? Okay. All right.
Now the Tigers could still, with a miracle, win this game. What have we got? A couple of minutes up to full time. 30 points to 22. 4 minutes to go. We've got to go length of field. Walters turns the ball back on the inside. That's always a good tactic for a tiring defence. Run out of dummy half. Walters again, looking for something, some support. Does well to find Carey. Carey wrapped up by, no, he wasn't wrapped up by LG. I like this kid. He really is aggressive in his running. Connor Carey. Now to move it out on this left-hand side. Chances to keep it alive. Out there to Svensson. Svensson just goes straight ahead. Second phase needed, but can't get it away. A bit of a wasted tackle at this stage of the game. Oswell rushes into dummy half. Torpey will work the blind side. Up here to Chase Blair. Sets back on the inside. Nothing happening. Last tackle play. Crossfield kick could do the trick. Torpey decides to run it. Up to Walters. They're going to run it. Up there to Kafusi. Kafusi to Drinkwater. Has it gone forward? Yes! And Leakport manages to recover. And it went forward, so that you would think would be the ball game. 3 minutes now to go. They backed themselves, Gav, on the last tackle. To put it to their speed men, didn't come off.
Yeah, you know, it's a roll of the dice, isn't it, really? It's a bomb in the corner becomes a lottery. You know, you take your chances out on the edge. You know, South will be playing with one less in the middle, so their edge defenders should have all been in place. If we see it here on the replay, it's just I don't necessarily know that they had an advantage here. Drinkwater just looking for the quick pass. They only had the advantage with Linkport there, I think, because the South winger had dropped back to cover that kick. But South Logan now, it's their game to lose.
Yeah, courageous effort here from South Logan to force their way back, get to the front with an 8-point lead and only 2 minutes remaining. But equally from the Tigers, who are down to 1 man on the bench. And here's Flegler, the man who scored the last try, which turned the game back towards the Magpies, Thomas Flegler.
Good tackle, Kafusi.
Out on the right-hand side, they go back in from Fatafehi. Now looping around. I think that's Levea. It is, yes, Sam, Levea. Hamilton kicking for the sideline, just closing the game down, game management, just trying to take the steam and pace out of it. And the Tigers look like they've just about given up here. They're not even really rushing to this scrum. Now they lift themselves to pack a scrum, but we're into the last minute of the game. And an 8-point lead for South Logan over the East Tigers.
What a second half we've had. 24-6, the South Logan led at half time. Tigers stormed back to 24-22. But the Magpies came up with that final try to seal the deal.
Yeah, and still South Logan, while they're celebrating what is almost wrapped up as a win for them, they're just still showing some concern for Scott Doyle sitting on the sideline nursing a knee injury. Now Connor Carey is leaving the field for the Tigers as well. And Matt Grote's going to go back out for one last minute of action.
Good kid that Connor Carey, Gav, shows a lot of potential.
Yeah, look, I think he's got more to show. I think, today he's had a really good game. But to me, he can just drift out of games a little bit, but certainly a really talented player and someone that East will be looking forward to resurrect their season. Looks like he might have just got a bit of a head knock and a bit of a HIA assessment, but he won't be heading back on.
So we've got to go from one end to the other and somehow come up with an 8-point try, the Tigers. The second week in a row, they're going to go down by a narrow score. Austral dummy half. Walters, who's tried all day but hasn't been able to open up. Here's a chance. McAnally running off Port. So it was Port to McAnally, left winger to right winger. And there goes the full-time siren. So an outstanding win for South Logan Magpies, set up in the first half when they established a 24-6 lead, and finally under threat from the East Tigers through much of the second half. They've prevailed, the Magpies, 30 points to 22. A win to South Logan at home at Davies Park. A very exciting encounter, gripping. It had real tension. It was a great battle between these two once East started to get back into it in that second half. But the first half, David, was where the damage was done. 4 tries to 1 there.
Well, it was, Warren. I don't think the East Tigers defence is powerful enough and aggressive enough to contest with some of these big, good sides. Not that they can't tackle. There's some very, very good defensive players in there, but I don't think they play with enough line speed and enough aggression. Allowed South Logan to get on top in that first half. They scored 4 tries to 1 in the first half after they shared tries initially. They scored the last 3 tries of the second half, led by 24 points to 6. Very, very dominant first half. And then the second half, through a glut of possession, East Tigers came back into the match with 3 very good tries. And I think when you look at, we saw 2 of the best solo tries today that I reckon I've seen for a while. Scotty Drinkwater out of nothing, just started around, scored a try to nothing. And then the young fellow Flegler, I thought that was a terrific try. Admittedly, the defence was going backwards, but that's what you've got to do. These good players, they've got to pull something out of the bag, Gav, and I thought there were a couple of really good solo efforts. Defensively, the Tigers, I think, need to improve to compete with the top sides. They've only got, 3 wins so far this season. They need to improve there, but they show they're capable. If they can tighten up their defence, defend their line when they haven't got the ball, they've certainly got plenty of attack power.
Yeah, Dave, look, you're exactly right. What a game we saw this afternoon. Really, as the old cliche of a game of 2 halves, really. South Logan really dominated that first half with the breeze. East then took over and really dominated that second half for long periods of the game. Just statistically wise though, just at the end of that game though, they completed 3 of their last 7 sets, but 4 errors in amongst that and 2 poor bombs. So, really 1 completed set in their last 7. It was a dog them again last week as well against North, exactly the same thing when they were in the lead and had in a position to win the game. Unfortunately, in this instance, they weren't in the lead, but the same sort of scenario.
Yeah, well, Gav, I think in that game last week, I think 7 of the last 9 sets that the Tigers had, they didn't complete. So they're not finishing off the back end of games. They're getting in positions to win the game and just not going on with it. And as we say, that kick that was a little bit of a pushed play that went dead, that gave the Magpies a 7 tackle set. That was a 2-point game at that stage. They fought so well to get back into it, and then you can't just release that pressure because the Magpies were just tonguing to get another chance. They went the length of the field.
And even at that point there was the misconversion by Braden Torpey of his own try from a reasonably handy position to the post. It wasn't right in front, but it wasn't out on the sideline either. They could have been level at that point, which gives, or soon after, which gives you a different mental attitude to the way you're playing the game. But the wash-up of this is that the Tigers are slipping down the ladder, Gavin. It's now 3 wins and 6 losses for the season. They started this round in 8th position, this split round in 8th position. They're losing contact with the top 6. They could be 6 points behind now.
Yeah, look, that's a real concern for the Tigers. They've been in the majority of games that they have lost, certainly. So they have the ability. There's just something, defensively, Dave, I think you're right. I think they're conceding too many points. Last week, I think it was 18. This week was was 30. Again, you know, so you're not going to win too many games when you're conceding, you know, 20 to certainly 30 points there. You've got to be a really good attacking side to overcome those sorts of deficits. So you know, it's got to start with their defence. They have to tighten up. You know, don't take anything away from South Logan either. I mean, they played some brilliant football. They went at them fast at those edges, and they created some doubt in the minds of the defensive outside backs for Eastern Suburbs on many occasions, and were good enough to get those tries in the first half. Then they weathered the storm. They didn't have as much possession, you know, only 12 sets in that second half to East 21. So they weathered the storm, and then they were able to come back and score their own try to ice the game.
Gav, let me ask you this. You've done quite a bit of coaching in recent years. I've done my coaching from some time ago. What do you reckon you've got to do in training? And these guys spend not as much as the NRL players, but they spend a fair bit of time. What do you got to do to get aggression in your defence? Most of these guys are good defenders. They're good tacklers, but I just don't see the power in there and the gang tackling and the driving back in defence. And you can't just do it for a couple of minutes. You've got to do it consistently. So what's your thoughts there on how they just turn this around to get more aggressive defensively?
Look, I think aggression comes from line speed, Dave. You know, if you've got your line speed going forward, and I think that's where the Tigers, you know, particularly in that first half when they're on the back foot with those big South forwards rolling through, it's hard to get line speed. But someone has to take the bit between the teeth and stop that roll for the Tigers. You know, whether it's Grote or one of those big forwards, you know, Fenston or whoever it might be. But it comes from your line speed. And they always talk, you know, you hear them talk about winning the tackle all the time. And it's in that first one or two tackles that they always want to win that first one or two. So then they feel that they're in control of that set of six. I think that the line speed is the key, you know, and with the line speed comes the aggression, because you haven't got that momentum of the attacking player coming forward at you. You've got the momentum of the defensive line going forward at him before he gets an opportunity to get
I think you've got to get the big hit in the first couple of tackles, and you need a leader. You need a leader to put that big and lead the boys forward, you know, with aggression. Having said that, they were on the run in the first half, but I thought in the second half, I saw plenty of aggression out there. I didn't think that was a problem.
They had a lot of ball, Warren, didn't they?
I
don't know what the
no
final
doubt.
stat was. It must have been 70% ball to the Tigers, I would guess, in the second half. So, you know, they didn't have to do as much defence. The other two
David, we're going to take a look at some of the highlights here. Toner's highlights from that second half of action. There's Guy Hamilton who left the field at one stage. This is early on where Drinkwater, we thought at this point Drinkwater wasn't quite on fire the way he normally has, coming back from injury, but all of a sudden this run showed us he was going to play a big part in the second half.
And that was probably the first run he had in the game, and he went all the way across there, popped it to Connor Carey. So he had plenty of dash. Later on he scores the try, which was great dash. That's what I don't like. This is the replay of that same play again. So Drinkwater, hoping this goes into touch, gets it, and then he's got the ability then to dash around. And we saw later on when he scored that great solo try, look how he can stand up play. Stood up two halves there, wasn't two front rowers, got it out there to Carey, sparked a little bit of something. I'm a real firm believer, if you're going to go to dummy half there now after there's been a breakdown field, you've got to get away from the marker. This time up here to Torpy, and fires it up to Svensson, flicks it out the back, up there to Great. This is where they build up for one of their tries in the second half. Up here to Torpy, he does a solo effort, goes through, really a little bit of a second phase play. Gav, I know you were crying out for more second phase play. The preceding play created a little bit of uncertainty in defence, allowed Torpy a little bit of latitude.
Yeah, I think Torpy's got to do some more of that too, off the back of those quick play the balls and so forth. I think he's got to go to the line. We'll see this again. Svensson it just pops that ball up. So Grote, you've got that defensive line retreating, then they've got to come forward again, make that tackle. Reasonably quick play the ball by Grote as well. Just gives the opportunity for Torpy to get on the outside of looked like Waddell there, and in between the Scarlett as well to get that try.
And that made the score 24-10 at that point. And you've got to remember the Tigers were the Magpies, I should say, had been doing a lot of defence, a lot of repeat sets for the Tigers, and they finally had to score some points. They needed to, and they did. And then they were at it again through Drinkwater. This is one of the best individual runs you're going to see in the Intrust Super Cup all season. What sparkling feet.
We didn't see enough of it though, Warren, for mine. He's obviously a devastating ball runner. One of the few times he didn't even chime into the back line there. Got a pass from Torpy.
I think you've been a bit tough, David. They were on the back foot the whole first half. South was smashing them, David, and you're asking the fullback to be a good attacking player.
Exactly right, Warren. Fullbacks do come in. You watch Billy Slater, he'll come in and steal 15 and 20 metres because he's
Billy Slater is the best player in the world, David. I don't think you can expect Drinkwater to turn the game by himself as a fullback.
I'm not saying by himself. Everyone's got a part to play, but I think he's a guy who could get more involved in the game. And I think he would, and East would benefit from it. We've seen him do it earlier in the season. Take your point, Warren. They didn't have a lot of ball early. They were under the pump. But even when these guys got on the attack in the second half, he only got involved on a couple of occasions. He did get involved once they did get on a roll. I'll give him that. So they go on with good attack here. This is Drinkwater again. Doesn't throw a silly pass. That's what I liked here. There was nothing silly going to happen out of that. And then from there, they go on with the job. Come back on the inside. Walters searches back down that blind side again. Port back to Walters. So they kept punching that right-hand side. And Walters went looking a few times, Gav.
Yeah, look, and that was back-to-back tries off consecutive sets for the Tigers, and they were right back into the game here, weren't they? So you know, that was great play by Walters. A long break down the right side by I think it was McAnally, and there you just see that little inside ball. Linkport very elusive, just gets between 2 and 3 players there, pops it up to Billy Walters, and Warren, that got him back to 24-22 with the conversion.
Yeah, and a very important conversion, of course. Yeah, 24-22, and at that stage we really had a gripping game. You could feel the tension. I mean, the temperature was dropping. It felt like winter. It felt like a great game of football, and it was, and the crowd were right into it. 24-22 for quite a long time, and I think we were just waiting for the Tigers to score another try and hit the lead, to be honest, but it never happened. A few mistakes ensued. Remember, Billy Walters lost the ball near halfway. We saw 2 bombs which weren't good ones. A high bomb from Walters which only went 10 metres forward, wasn't contested. Torpy put one over the dead ball line, and finally the Magpies came back.
Yeah, Thomas Flegler, beautiful pass up there to Bowie, gets them on the attack, gets away from Drinkwater. From this ensuing play, they put it out through the left-hand side. Ball gets knocked down, and they go on with the job this time. Yeah, it goes out back on this left-hand side. The ball gets touched. There's a restart of the tackle count. And then I like the way Flegler a couple of times, he was up pretty flat as the ball was being played, but he makes sure he gets back. So he's in a bit of position to pick his time, to pick his angle. Went across the rut, no one moving up at all. On a big man like that, you've got to confront him, and he goes in straight under the sticks, and that took the steam right out of the Tigers, and that was the back end of the 7-tackle set.
Yeah, the Tigers will be very disappointed with that defence. Admittedly, it was a set which had gone from one end of the field to the other. They were backpedaling. The defence got out of shape. You could see Flegler there. He actually ghosted across past 2 of the bigger players to get to Ash Little. Ash Little didn't make an effective first up hit, and then the 2 other players, bigger players, arrived too late. That defence just got out of shape. Flegler took full advantage.
Yeah, he did indeed. And look, he had a really good game. I'm not sure how many Intrust Super Cup games he's played, but
one before this. Oh no, sorry, no, this season.
Okay, but
most of the games.
He certainly impressed out there today in both stints that he was on. You know, the first stint was quite impressive, but second stint was even more impressive.
So has he been playing in the BRL? Has he been playing?
No. Sorry, no. I mean this season. I think he has played most of their games this season. I'll check. I've got the stats. Yeah. I'll dig them out and tell you in a moment.
Yeah. But they then went on with the job, the Magpies. They closed the game out. But really, the Tigers had their chances. They didn't go. And Gav, that one they let Flegler run. If there's ever a time then, to me, if you're a coach, for a licence to be offside on your try line, you're down by 2 points, you've got this big giant coming in, just get up there. If you're going to be caught for offside, well, give them 4 points and try again with a couple of minutes to go.
Well, yeah, give them the penalty, reset your line, which is a common thing that everybody's doing these days, isn't it? So that you can reset that line, as you say, and then hopefully hold that set out. But it wasn't to be for the Tigers this afternoon. Just interesting, after he scored that third try to get right back into it in that second half, that was the start really of that poor set of 7 plays at the end, 7 sets they had at the end. So that's when they started to make some errors and so forth, and the kicks weren't quite as they should have been. So and at the same time, South made a couple of errors in that period also.
Matt Great was very strong when he was fresh, but he did run out a bit of steam. It's only second game back, I think. So I thought he was very strong. He might have gone off around about that time too. So we seemed to lose a bit of power and strength in that middle or latter part of the second half.
Yeah, let's not forget they also lost both edge back rowers at different stages as well, which does just upsets that rotational phase, and so perhaps some of those forwards like Ash Little and Iona perhaps will work doing more minutes than they normally would and perhaps tiring themselves. But you know, it's a tough game that we play, a collision sport, and you're going to get injuries, and you just got to deal with it.
I think Billy Walters played well, but will be better for the run as well, having come back from injury as well. You know, he tried hard, but he didn't quite get the incision right, or he'd go halfway through, but wasn't able to follow it up, and maybe his support players weren't quite there when he needed them as well.
Yeah, look, I just overall, I thought the East kicking game, it just could have been a little bit better. We talked about those 2 bombs. There was another occasion where we kicked one. I think it was Torpy kicked one straight into the legs of Waddell. I think it was another occasion that I recall. I can't remember where it was, but they're just a little 1%er, so that if you can get those through the line or you can get an effective kick, you don't necessarily have to get the possession back, but you just put the pressure on, as you say, David. Get them down in the corner, dribble it into the end goal, perhaps get a repeat set. There was a period there, I think, with that first bomb that they put up, they could have got a repeat set there. I think that would have been the killing blow for South Logan. Wasn't to be. They didn't execute well enough, and in the end they weren't good enough to win the game.
Just by the way, you asked about Flegler. This is his first Intrust Super Cup season. At the age of 18, he's played 7 out of the 9 games.
Okay, well, he would have been dangerous. Wherever he was playing last year, I wouldn't like to have played him in a lower grade.
But I would say he was probably only out there about 20 minutes today. He didn't have a long stretch on the field. He's certainly an impact player.
And I think that's what they try and do, Warren, is to look after the young ones, don't they? Bennett's motor. I mean, obviously, back when Mal Meninga was playing here and came through as about a 17-year-old, I remember Wayne Bennett was coaching then, and he held him back quite a bit. He didn't put him in there against the big boys over and over, and even in those days, we didn't have unlimited interchange, so you couldn't just run a bloke on and off for 20 minutes. But Bennett looked after him then, and they'll do the same thing with Flegler and, of course, Big Payne Hass, although he got that knock the other night. You just got to bring these guys through slowly, because it's a big effort, an 18-year-old to be playing even at this level, let alone NRL.
Yeah, and Coach John Buchanan will look after him as well. He's got a couple of very experienced campaigners in Travis Waddell and their little Phil Dennis as well to steer him in the right direction, to help him out during those periods when he may be unsure of what he needs to be doing. But overall it was quite an impressive game from Flegler.
I should say, Warren, that as an 18-year-old, I made my debut here at Davies Park,
right?
And I got hit by one of the Fijians. You remember again those Fijians? There was a Sola Vola Vola and Eamon Gita Wide, a Sali Bata Basaga, and I was an 18-year-old. I played my debut here, and I've run the ball up, and Vola Vola hit me in the back of the head, and I thought, what? How the hell did that happen? But his greatest claim to fame, Sola Vola Vola, these blokes were like rocks. He was in a car accident, and the car was a write-off. Right. But he was a pedestrian. The car deflected off him, hit this lamppost, and he was a write-off. They put him in a hospital, and he checked himself out about 2 o'clock that morning. So there were some pretty hard boys around, and we had a Fijian playing today too, didn't we? Rocco Lati.
And as I said, he played his part in the lead-up to Flegler's try, the first hit-up of the game. He really put in a big one for that part of the game. All right, just about time to wrap up here. I think our post-game after the siren wrap-up from Suzuki. Thanks to everyone who's joined us on Tiger TV again today. Final score, 30 points to 22 in favour of the South Logan Magpies. We just heard the Magpies with their cheer their after-match victory song in the dressing sheds. Sound like they were having a thumping good time too. But unfortunately for the Tigers, who were down 24-6 at half-time, they've been on the losing end today, 30 points to 22. And they've really got to start to get their season together with a few victories very quickly. But back to Langlands Park next time.
I think they've got a bye next week as well, so that'll help them a little bit to perhaps regroup, get away from the footy for a few days. Perhaps I expect Scott Sipper will, and then get back into it again next week and regroup for that charge. No
Brody Croft today. I think he was 18th man for Melbourne, so obviously he may come back. Not sure of that. So there's a few other players, but they had a good side on paper, the Tigers. So. They'll be disappointed that they didn't come away with the 2 points.
Just let me check with our statsman, James Cheeseman. Who have we got next at Langlands Park, the Tigers? Not till June, and then it's PNG, the Hunters, who are down the bottom of the ladder at the moment, but that means they'll be hungry for a win as well. So it'll be on again.
And Warren, the South Old boys have had their reunion here today, and they had a few drinks in the can bar, and I coached here in the mid-90s, so might go and join them.
You might go and join them. All right. Well, the only other people watching the ground at the moment with us are the Ibis walking around the field. So we'll say goodbye for now. Thanks for your company today on Tiger TV.
It's off the ball!